Beautiful night for football and a beautiful night to kick off conference play. It is a 5A Big East conference opener between the Franklin Regional Panthers, who for the first time in 3 years travel here to Antamarino Stadium to take on your Gateway Gators here on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Hello everyone, welcome for what should be a dandy tonight between two teams looking to establish dominance in conference play. And Spencer, a tradition like any other, Spencer Witt alongside me, Vince Russo here, and for the third straight year we get to cover this rivalry between the Panthers and the Gators. And Spencer, tell us a little bit about the past 2 years and what we've seen.
It's crazy how it always lines up between me and you doing Franklin Regional Gateway. 2 years ago, Gateway, a blowout over at Franklin Regional. Last year, Franklin Regional was a bit of a revenge per se, really ran the ball, had some nice kicks from their kicker, and that was the win for them. A bit of an upset, not what you expected last year, but things have turned a little bit here. Franklin Regional really looks like the team that Gateway is having to climb and get to here in this one.
Gators, as we know, started 0-3 on the season with lopsided losses against Mount Lebanon, Woodland Hills, and last week here at home against North Hills, looking for a bit of revenge of their own after last year's 16-7 upset at the hands of these Panthers, who are 2-1 on the season. And Spencer, a couple blowouts for the Panthers as well, one in a victory, one in defeat.
Yeah, the blowouts they had a win against Connellsville, a loss to TJ as well, so both of those teams kind of a yin and yang. You see one success, especially in week one for Franklin Regional, and then right back again the next week you get blown out. It kind of humbles you per se. You expect to really be going strong here to start the season, and then you get blown out and you start to realize this isn't going to be like this every week. You got to play week in and week out.
Brad Birch back in for the Gators tonight. He missed the last 2 games, was out with an injury, is back behind center tonight. Sid Bryant played well in 2 relief starts, but I'm sure the Gators are going to be happy to have number 12 under center again.
Yeah, definitely. They've been missing in the last 2 games, Brad Birch, and that's something that literally will quarterback this team, and I think he has the pocket presence that they really need for Gateway in order to air the ball out down the field, especially for the Gators. And when you open up that air attack, the ground game really opens up. Last time against Franklin Regional, they couldn't get the air attack going, and Franklin Regional was just stacking the box, and the running game was not there. A player like Birch can come up and throw it, can really make a difference.
And on the other end, Aiden Hudock, look for him to get involved. Played a big role in the upset win last year as a playmaker for Franklin Regional. We'll turn our attention to the field as we get ready. Kickoff here just a few seconds away at Antamarino Stadium between the Panthers and the Gators. Gators will kick off to start this one as they will kick it right or left to right across your screen, rather, in their black home uniforms with gold numerals. Franklin Regional wearing their road white uniforms and pants, little blue trim, gold helmets, blue numbers. We got the sun right in our eyes, as I'm sure you saw as we stood for pregame. That'll get out of our way here probably by the end of the first quarter. And overall, beautiful night, Spencer, for football. Temperatures dipping down towards about 70. We'll be in the 60s before the end of this one.
Yeah, it's that weather mid-September where Mother Nature doesn't know if it wants to be fall yet or still wants to hang on to summer. It was a little cooler this morning, a little cool down a little bit throughout this evening as well, but beautiful weather here this Friday evening.
This game also being televised as Game of the Week on KDK, so we'll have some proper media timeouts throughout our broadcast tonight. So that's what we're waiting on here for them to return from commercial break and to kick us off properly into this one. Again, the first conference game for these two teams who shared the conference crown last season. Franklin Regional lost to Penn Trafford late in the season, so both of these teams finished 4-1. Penn Trafford made the postseason from the Big East as well at 3-2 last season. But those records are wiped clean. Both teams 0-0. That'll change after this one. We are underway here on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Panthers with the ball first. And the return, a good one, up over the 25, close to the 30-yard line, just shy there. A big hit, but a good return by Aiden Hudock. Who else but Hudock?
Hudock going to start things off. Really good blocking. Elijah Bennett over there had a nice block for Franklin Regional, and he had a little bit of a seam there. Had the right idea, but Gateway was able to converge and stop that from being a big-time game.
Hudock with a couple receiving touchdowns early in the season for Franklin Regional. Able to make hay as a return man as well. Here, a loud and proud cheered squad below us. It's community day here at Gateway, so a big crowd on hand for this conference opener. Out of the gun. Looked like a little movement early there. Franklin Regional gets away with it. They'll get the handoff there. That one goes to Kyle DuPill. DuPill has been excellent in the past couple games, couple 100-yard performances and 4 touchdowns in the past 2 contests.
Yeah, Lemke moving up to go get that ball. Kind of weirdly, a motion you don't usually see as a quarterback, but the referee's letting that one go. And right off the bat, another run. Again, we talked about it in pregame. Franklin Regional ran over Gateway last year. The question will be, how will Gateway respond if they're going to try and do the same thing this year?
Lemke out of the gun again. I'll hand it off again here on 2nd and medium after a good gain on 1st down. DuPill going to take it up close to 1st down yardage at the 40. I think they're going to mark him just past the 40-yard line. So that'll be a 1st down. 2 runs, 10 yards, and the Panthers will move the chains.
And Lemke talking to the referee. He took a shot there after the handoff from Steven Jenkins. And I just want to set the tone there, Jenkins does, not letting Lemke do anything crazy with a little bit of end around, fake handoffs or anything like that. Keep him honest.
Another handoff here on 1st down. That one right up the gut, up close to the 45. Another solid game by DuPill. 3 carries, about 14 yards here in the early going for the upperclassmen, who registers at 5'6", 200 pounds.
Franklin Regional again just continuing to run the ball. They have yet to establish any pass game because they don't need to yet to throw the ball here, but they're taking what Gateway is giving them up the middle. He's kind of, Lemke kind of moving up and then giving the handoff out, and that's what they're doing.
2nd and 7, flushed out of the pocket. Lemke just going to get rid of this one as he had a number of Gators in pursuit there, including Ahmad Harris and Derek Selby, or rather Steven Jenkins. Sorry, Spencer. We had Derek Selby was number 3 last week, but with Jenkins coming back, Selby back to number 7. So a note for our viewers at home. Jenkins 3, Selby 7, and that's a reminder for you, but even more so for me.
Yeah, Gateway really blitzing and timing that blitz well. They got by Franklin Regional's offensive line, and Lemke doing a good job rolling out and recognizing the pressure and just throwing that one away. You have the target on the left if he's open, but if not, just throw it away.
DuPill out into the flats. They'll fake the throw to him, try to set up the screen inside. They'll get it to an upperclassman down the seam. It's Jet Taylor, and Taylor going to take this one to the house. Rather, that's number 16. That is Hudock. Boy, Hudock didn't have to really turn on the Jets too much there. He got behind the defense, and he was gone in a heartbeat.
Perfectly executed screen here. Watch this. You've got 5 guys for Gateway going to the quarterback. There's nobody on the left side. 1 DB. They push all of their offensive linemen and the wide receivers. They stack it to the right side. Hudock comes back over the middle, has only 1 guy, and he's got 3 blockers with him too. Perfectly executed and a great call from the head coach, Lance Getze.
PAT up and good, so a 57-yard touchdown pass from Lemke to Hudock.
And again, another look at this. Watch all the DBs. You see all those wide receivers up to the right side of your screen? Then Lemke comes back. No one's able to get to him. He's got room in front of him, offensive lineman in front of him as well. Only 1 defensive back on the left side of the field for Gateway, and it was just too easy for Lemke there. Almost a bad throw, though. He had to try to jump up and get that one. Lemke did try to toss it over the pursuing defenseman for the Gators.
So a defensive breakdown allows Hudock to go for 57 yards in the score. And so for the 4th consecutive week, as many as we've played here, the Gators find themselves in a hole early in this one. Now, Spencer, a chance for Brad Birch and the offense to come out, try and score some points of their own after the senior quarterback missed the past 2 games.
They need to respond here. Gateway does. You don't need a touchdown. I know you got to be frustrated with yourselves if you're Gateway giving up that big touchdown, but you just need to establish the fact that your offense can get going. Your offense can move the ball down the field and keep up with this Franklin Regional team who, again, to credit them, did a really good job moving the ball down the field.
Birch and his lone game this season, 13 of 18 on the year, 133 yards. He did have a rushing score from inside 10 yards against Mount Lebanon in that season opener. Missed the past 2 weeks, and they're going to be happy to have him back. The Gators with just 15 points across 3 games this year. Birch's score, and then TJ Mitchell finding the end zone on a special teams touchdown last week. So 9:50, just 2 minutes and 10 seconds in, and again, we have the break for the media timeout. We'll be ready for kickoff here in just a second, but the Gators going to be going left to right across your screen offensively, and we've seen some stellar returns this year from a couple talented guys back for the Gators, Kenny Lewis as well as Terrence Cole. It seems every time he has the ball in his hands, able to get north to south in a hurry. We'll see who they try to kick it to here. As kicking off for Franklin Regional will be Joey Bain, who hit 3 field goals last year and is regarded as one of the better kickers in the WPIAL. All 3 field goals coming within 35 yards in last season's victory, but has a good track record as he sends this one into the end zone. It's fumbled around the goal line, but that's going to be a touchback, as that one was bobbled in the end zone. And anytime the ball is even slightly possessed past the goal line there, or travels past the goal line, it is a touchback. So the Gators will take over at the 20-yard line. We'll see what they have in store here.
1st and 10 at the Gator 20.
Talked about Kenny Lewis, their leading receiver in terms of explosiveness, averaging 17.5 yards a catch. In terms of their leading receiver overall, it's Jaquan Reynolds. 13 receptions on the season, but just 35 net yards on those completions. Between running and catching the ball, averaging just 2.5 yards a carry. Let's see if they can get him rolling tonight. He had 928 yards from scrimmage last year. Just haven't been able to get him open in space. They'll go to the air here. Quick catch and toss, and the ball is fumbled. It's loose on the field, and the Gators get back to it quickly. Steven Jenkins able to fall on that one after a fumble by the Gators. That is Dyson Harper, the junior.
Hey, you see the zone coverage, so the cornerback comes up and just lays a little bit of a hit, just kind of transitioning, trying to transfer that ball to his side, Harper, and dropping that one, and lucky break for Gateway. They were able to recover it.
Cole Brinker able to lay the boom there and jar that one loose. Jenkins, though, able to fall on it. Makes it 2nd and 9. Now a deep ball over the top, and it's Lewis. He has it. One man to beat. The shoestring tackle won't work, and that is going to be a 79-yard pitch and catch. Birch to Lewis. And my goodness, you talk about missing your senior quarterback. 2 plays, 80 yards, and a touchdown.
Bradley Birch is back. What a dime from him. One spot you need to put this ball. It's on the money as you take another look, but a flag is down on the play near the line of scrimmage. Again, just looking at this one, regardless if it's a touchdown, it's a perfect throw here. And just one-on-one coverage over the top. He gets by his defensive back. And it looks like he'll be coming back.
So an ineligible man downfield. That's been an issue for the Gators. They had 2 long pass plays brought back against Woodland Hills for a similar infraction. And so that's going to negate the 79-yard touchdown.
That's tough. And that's a design pass play. There wasn't really any play action. Really tough to see for Gateway there.
So 3rd and 14 now for the Gators. Pressure coming, Birch, good bit of time to throw, completes that one, and a big hit close to the marker. And that's going to be caught by number 7 for the Gators, Derek Selby.
You see Cole Brinker again with another hit. This is a nice route here for Gateway, just stopping at the 1st down, turning to the right in the middle. And Brinker was playing a little bit safe coverage there after giving up that big almost touchdown, was called back, but able to get the 1st down here.
Yeah, Selby caught that one in his forward progress. He fell just beyond the marker, Now they'll get it to Jenkins. Jenkins able to use a blocker to inch his way up toward the 40-yard line. A little bit short, but a nice gain there on first down. And something we haven't seen from the Gators much this season is being able to pick up chunks of yards to bring up second and third in short situations.
Yeah, really good blocking there for Gateway. Kenny Lewis stepping in front there. And the offense is working right now for the Gators, as this is their first run play we've really seen all day, at least on this drive.
So Birch falls forward toward the 40. It's a gain of about 1.5 yards, almost like a yard and 9/10. They needed 2 there, though. They'll move it back just a little bit to the 39. So gain of 1 officially. It'll be 3rd and short. A short one, high snap. They'll hand it off to Reynolds, and Reynolds able to get enough and more. Needed 1, got about 6 there. So takes it from the 39 up to the 45. And more importantly, Spencer, a second first down as the Gators are moving the ball.
And good blocking there from the trenches for the boys in black jerseys for Gateway. And Reynolds is just waits, stops, and finds the right spot to go for the first.
Gators want to keep that up-tempo offense. Jenkins loses his footing, so this one, a completion, it's going to lose them a couple yards. As we see, Gators last couple weeks weren't able to deploy the up-tempo offense quite as much, but they're going quick, Spencer. No real time to waste here.
They are going quick. Seeing if they want to get Franklin Regional just kind of confused a little bit here on defense. Again, Franklin Regional's defense is very soft. It's not man-to-man. They haven't had much man-to-man defense. They're playing a zone, especially back around that 50-yard line, 40-yard line.
So 2nd and 12, Birch in the gun. Another deep ball here, going into double coverage, but has a man. It's Jenkins, goes up and gets it, and that's going to be down inside the 10-yard line. A long pitch and catch there from the 43 down to about the 9-yard line. So call that a gain of nearly 50. As they'll set up with 1st and goal here, the Gators will.
Good pass from Birch here, double coverage, and that over-the-top defensive back just stops. You got to stay in front of your man there, and it's just the perfect pass over the head and caught by the wide receiver. As you got a player jumping off sides for Franklin Regional.
Yeah, Gators went quick, went with the hard count, draw the Panthers off sides, so not only will it be 1st and goal, but they'll bring this one half the distance. So make things a little easier for the Gators here, who will have 4 cracks at trying to get 6 here and tie it up.
5 yards against Franklin Regional.
Timeout called. That's going to be the Panthers first. Franklin Regional wants to talk this one over as they're on their heels, Spencer. The Gators, nice combination of run and mostly pass, but they've been able to sprinkle a design quarterback run in. Reynolds able to pick up a 3rd and short. Let's take a look here, our first look at some standings tonight. The Allegheny 6 Conference, Upper St. Clair on top with that win over Baldwin last week. The Highlanders, Spencer, you're a proud alumnus yourself, put a little bit of a fight into that one. They were down 42-21, scored a late touchdown to pull back in, and then another to get within 1 score, but just not enough to get across the finish line there. And then
some would say they were fighting Highlanders.
They were. They were. And so tonight, the big matchup in that conference, look at Peters Township and South Fayette, matchup of a 3-0 and 2-1 squads. South Fayette much improved, but dropped a game. They were leading against Montour by a decent amount, lost in overtime. Peters Township has been laying waste to everyone in front of them on their schedule, and so it'll be a litmus test for the Indians, who look like they can be a real contender, as they have been for much of the last 5 years in 5A. Last year, just 6-4. So return to action here. Birch in the gun with Reynolds to his right, 3 receivers set, and again, Franklin Regional going to jump off sides, and penalties. Killing both of these teams here in the early going. Negated a touchdown that would have been a 79-yard score for the Gators. And on the other end, given some free yardage here on 1st and goal for the Gators.
And look how quick Gateway's back up to the line of scrimmage.
Option play here. Birch going to keep it himself. He'll dance into the end zone, almost untouched for a 2-yard touchdown. So Birch, no passing touchdowns yet on the campaign, but gets back into the game here. A couple nice completions. Finishes this drive off with his feet. And Spencer, this Gators team last week moved the ball but couldn't finish drives. They get Birch back in there. First drive, first touchdown since week 0.
And a good play from him, recognizing the halfback option. The defensive back went over towards the running back, and he just kept it himself, cut that back in, and scored. And yeah, you talked about it, Vince, how these teams, as the extra point is good. This Gateway team, the offense is there. There's no doubt about it. It's just the fact that they can't punch it in when push comes to shove. And right now, they have shoved back when the pushing came from Franklin Regional in their first possession.
So both teams get on the board quickly. Got the signal that the PAT, I believe, was up and good. It has not been reflected on the scoreboard just yet. So, close game here to start. What is the proverbial game of the week between these two Big East Conference rivals? So there we go. Got that 7th point up on the board, and it is a tie game. So we're just about halfway through the first quarter here, and both of these teams moving the ball relatively quickly to score these points. And let's see what the road behind and ahead has looked like for the Gators. We talked about what we've seen this season, a tough start to the non-conference campaign with losses against a talented Mount Lebanon Blue Devils team, an upstart Woodland Hills Wolverines team that seems to have a real physical squad with some talent at the skill positions offensively, and then a tough effort last week against North Hills. They have 4 consecutive conference matchups here, and they'll travel to Plum next week, return home for a contest against the Hempfield Spartans, and then it's the Battle of the Bell on October 6th, one that I'm sure everyone across this region has circled on their calendars. Will be in Harrison City for what should be a dandy out that way. And then finishing the season 2 out of 3 out of conference, McKeesport dropped a tough game to Bell Vernon last week in a matchup of 2 very, very good football teams. And Spencer, I think one of the teams to look at here is, I don't know that anyone is talking more about a talented team than Central Catholic. People really seem to think that might be the best team in the region.
Every year, I mean, year in, year out, and that'll be interesting if Gateway gets to the playoffs, or if they're sitting in that playoff situation that last week of the year playing Central Catholic, kind of seeing what exactly Gateway will throw out there in a non-conference matchup.
Definitely feel a bit of a lack of intensity in that game last season at Dormont Stadium. That one will be at Antamarino Stadium here in Monroeville. We talked about it last week with Adam Gusky, how not a huge fan of 2 of the last 3 being non-conference. A nice return there again by Hudog, who has some size along with that speed. Take a look at him down there, able to drag some guys along. 6'1", 188 pounds, but that is going to bring this one back as there's some laundry on the field. Illegal block there, holding, official call. And so what looked like a drive that would start at the 40-yard line will march the Panthers back. We'll see where they start this one, their second drive of the evening.
Yeah, we saw the holding kind of at the bottom of your screen there on the replay. Once Hudak went back to his right and cut that one over towards the numbers. There's a hold on the Franklin Regional second guy up, and that negates it like you said. But again, Franklin Regional, we saw their first drive, a lot of running and then passing. That one pass kind of threw off Gateway a lot. We'll see what they do here on this drive if they continue to run it up the gut.
They'll start at their own 17, so the penalty cost them 23 yards. It's a quick handoff here. Continuing to churn the legs, a nice effort up over the 25-yard line. And again, it is Dupill, the junior.
And that's the same mentality we saw last year. Just keep running, keep moving the legs until you're told not to move the legs anymore, until the whistle is blown. And that's what Franklin Regional, that was what they worked with last year. Their bread and butter was just running it up the gut, and we'll see if you run up the gut. We'll see. We haven't really seen the ball been aired out yet from the quarterback, only that wide receiver screen.
And Panthers, different players last year, but 58 carries, 268 yards in that victory over the Gators. They'll move the pile here once again up over the 30-yard line, and that will move the chains. And so no answers thus far. This Gators defense trying to halt this run game. It's been quite successful in the early going for the Panthers.
Keep running the ball, get 3 yards every play, you'll never lose. That's what my dad would always say. And that's what the Panthers are doing right now. Just keep running the ball. I don't think they've had a loss of yardage yet this game, especially from the rushing, which is a very good sign to see for Franklin Regional. They just keep getting 3-4 yards every single play.
Motion man across the formation, though. Keep it here, an option. This one up in the air, almost intercepted. A good job getting a hand in the passing lane there. One of the down linemen for the Gators, Luis June, with the pressure there, and then a hand up in the passing lane, trying to tip that one. Number 23 for the Gators, Jair Phillips.
And not the best play for Franklin Regional. Looked broken from the beginning. You saw 4 or 5 Gateway jerseys in that area, and even if he is able to get that ball off, it might have been deflected or intercepted away from the intended target. Hudak there for Franklin Regional.
Gators nearly come away with the turnover there. Instead, it'll be 2nd and 10. Man in motion again. Handoff. Met Jenkins driving that pile backwards. Dupil stopped in his tracks by Jenkins, the senior who hasn't played a ton this year, but is out there tonight making a difference. Couple receptions on offense and a big hit there on defense.
Yeah, Jenkins. A missed block from Franklin Regional's offensive lineman who pulled there, Andrew Davola, and it's Jenkins who was just right there, ran right to him and took him down. Good play from Jenkins.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 10 as we approach the 4.5-minute mark here in quarter number 1. The sun just about set over the hillside facing downtown Pittsburgh. Motion man is Hudak. He's out in the flats. They're going to try to set it up to him. And a big hit there to drop the intended receiver in the backfield. Amari Gans comes in and blows that one up. They got the completion to the junior, Austin Kearns, but he headed backwards in a hurry. That's going to be a loss of 2. The punt team will come on for the Panthers.
Great job by Gateway there. We were not fooled that time. Only really one player going towards the quarterback for Franklin Regional, and everybody for Gateway stayed home, waited for the throw, and then immediately converged on the Panther there. Nothing doing on that one.
So punt formation here. Gators will get this one back. Take a really nice bounce, and it'll get into the hands of Kenny Lewis. Lewis with a couple blocks, trying to get to the edge there, and he's going to get held up and brought down by Jack Silvitz, the 5'10 junior. And if Lewis would have been able to get away from that, he might have been able to get to the edge there. So good tackle to keep Lewis down inside the 30-yard line.
And Lewis picking that one up off of the bounce, couple bounces, and then you just see 1, 2, just trying to get around to the edge. And finally, it's the first guy that gets to him for Franklin Regional. Jack Silvis, who was able to get him and take him down, and Silvis was a little bit uncomfortable taking him down as well, a little injured on that one. But Gateway coming back out on offense. We'll see what Birch can respond with after the 3-and-out, or the punt, from Franklin Regional. How will they respond in the air?
They'll start out in the gun once again. Birch going to go to the air quickly, gets it to Lewis. Lewis gets a block on the outside. He'll have first down yardage, pauses, and then takes himself out of bounds over the 35-yard line. So a nice gain there. That's going to be about 12 yards on the pitch and catch on first down.
Talk about those design screens. We see the one-on-one matchups, and then player for Franklin Regional, Heath Silva, has to come in late. So it's 2-on-2 blockers, and then he had his own ways to go until going out of bounds, just ran out of room.
Gators offense looks sharp here in the early going. They'll fake the handoff. Birch going to run out of room here, though, and just has to bite the bullet, take the sack, as he had about 4 different Franklin Regional Panthers in his grill. See there, Dupil getting in quickly and then cleaned up there by Andrew Davola. Davola, one of the vocal leaders for the Panthers, and he's down on the field. Hopefully just some cramping, but looks like he may have sustained an injury on that play.
Yeah, nothing that Gateway could do in that situation. Birch was looking to his right for the wide receiver screen near the sidelines. The man coverage guy was just standing right next to the wide receiver, so Birch's second option is just run for your life, and there were too many Franklin Regional players in the area.
We talked about a beautiful night for football. You got a nice view there of the top of the U.S. Steel building, downtown Pittsburgh, just over the horizon there. We're east of the city, and Gators with their second consecutive home contest here. As we talked about, they'll take to the road against an upstart Plum Mustangs team that's 2-1 and returns a good bit of talent. Adam Gusky and I will have that one for you next Friday over at Plum. Nick Odom, the name to watch there, talented back. And here's one for the Gateway Gators, and Reynolds takes a pop there but is able to fall forward. Nice gain there, going to be about 5 yards to make this a third and somewhat manageable. Call it 3rd and 8.
A good play call there for Gateway head coach Don Knoll. As you saw, Reynolds getting that ball, and a couple Franklin Regional players are expecting Birch to keep it and throw it, and instead gets a couple yards.
Brent Hickey with the hit there, 3rd and a little bit longer. They're going to go deep here, and that one flails and is a bit short. Birch took a hit on that one, was looking across the middle, had a couple receivers in Lewis and Dyson Harper, but the pressure, see that hit at the top of your screen, made it so that he wasn't able to get that ball all the way there.
Yeah, Birch wasn't happy with that. He was talking to the ref. He didn't like the hit being low and how low it was from that linebacker for Franklin Regional. 4th and 8, and they're lining up to go for it here, though.
If I had any guess, I think you'll see a pooch punt on this one, as Birch has done that a number of times, and he'll get this one out. And boy, what a dandy there. Nice spiral. That's going to take a beautiful bounce for the Gators, and Brad Birch able to flip the field on that one, lined up in the shotgun. And we saw that a lot last season, and just another wrinkle that having that senior in the lineup gives you, as that might have been one of the best punts the Gators have had all season, and that sets up the Panthers with a long way to go here.
The trifecta, run, pass, and punt for Brad Birch. Do it all, is looking to try and win one of those competitions that they always see at halftime of the Steeler games and stuff like that. Youth run, pass, punt competitions. And a nice one from Brad Birch. You just said flipping the field, and Franklin Regional started pretty much the same scenario, or same yardage, I should say, right around that 10 to 15 yard line last time. And they got one first down and had to punt it, so we'll see what they can respond with here.
Strong defensive effort on the last drive by the Gators. They're able to get off the field and get the ball back quickly. A nice run there on first down, up toward the 15-yard line, so a gain of about 5 yards there. That's going to be a carry by Jude Gentile. First time we'll see him tote the rock, as he has been a factor for Franklin Regional, has gotten the ball throughout. It's not as much as DuPill, but has 120 yards, averages about 5.2 yards a carry, and has 2 touchdowns here in the early going of the season.
Gentile just following his blockers, moving up the field and getting a decent amount of carries on that one. And 2nd and 4. We'll see if Franklin Regional goes back to the run and go one of those screens that they tried to do last time. It didn't work.
Again, looked like there was some movement early there. This one not going to get called. That'll be a first down run. Nice effort there by Lemke to get to the outside. Kenny Lewis lowers the shoulder and gives him a pop before he's out of bounds. We'll see on the replay, able to just get past that first down marker.
That's by design for Franklin Regional, and Lemke just start running. Grab the ball, start running, and you're looking at that first down marker, and you do not stop until you get to that first down marker. That's exactly what Lemke did there.
So the Panthers out of the shadow of their own end zone, just over the 20-yard line. 90 seconds and counting left here in the first quarter. Handoff again, it's Gentile able to spin away from one would-be tackler, and Jenkins for the second time tonight. You see when he gets in there, guys go backwards. A nice hit by Jenkins to stop Gentile right in his tracks.
Hey, took a look there. Jenkins just waiting, and then once he spins out and comes back, he explodes and goes there for Gateway.
6-yard gain up to the 27-yard line, 2nd and 4. into the last minute of the first quarter here. Both teams with a touchdown in the early going. 57-yard passing touchdown from Lemke to Aiden Hudock. Gators responded with the 2-yard touchdown run by Brad Birch. This one up the middle. Again, it's Gentile, and that's going to make it third and a very short one. And what will likely be the last play of the first quarter upcoming. Panthers will go out of the gun again. 2 receivers to the right. They'll hand it off, and that will be more than enough needed. One got about 4. So that will likely take us to the end of the first quarter as you see a nice carry by DuPill there. And tie game here after 1. Franklin Regional moving the ball once again, though. A drive that started at their own 10-yard line. They're up close to the 40-yard line, and Spencer, the Gators seemingly don't have an answer in the early going for this Franklin Regional ground game. Deja vu from what we saw last season.
You know, it's interesting how Franklin Regional on their drive that they had to punt, 2 passes in that one, both incomplete, and that was one of the big reasons why they had to punt the ball, was because of the fact that they went to a little bit of an offensive, they went to passing on the offense for Franklin Regional, and it wasn't working. Gateway did not get fooled by the wide receiver screen that time. But right now, Franklin Regional going back to what they did in the first drive and going back to what they did last year, just running the ball, whether it's up the gut or it's the quarterback to the right side, just kind of scanning their options, getting a couple yards and moving it.
Boy, on that defensive side of the ball, Steven Jenkins in there making a difference. Let's take a look at Franklin Regional's path up to this point and what they have lying ahead of them. 2 blowouts in 3 games, 1 a lopsided loss to perennial power Thomas Jefferson. A win over Latrobe in which they were down by a score 14-21. Franklin Regional scored the last 2 touchdowns, got a couple goal line stands, and were able to win an important non-conference game and then a blowout win over Connellsville. So 3 4A opponents to start the year. Franklin Regional is their first 5A opponent. You see they'll step out of conference once again against a Shaler team that's impressed folks. 3-0 to start the season before 3 consecutive conference games. 1 out of conference against North Hills that we saw last week against the Gators, and then they'll end the season against Penn Trafford. And a game that had a lot of weight last year. Penn Trafford upsetting Franklin Regional to help the Gators get a share of that Big East crown. One thing we talked about in pre-game, Spencer, is no teams in the top 5 for either the Post-Gazette or the Trib Live High School Sports Network out of this Big East Conference. You have Gateway at 0-3, Penn Trafford at 1-2, even Franklin Regional here 2-1, but their one quality opponent sort of laid an egg against them. Really, no team has established themselves, and furthermore, we get into the end of the first quarter here, 7-7. Big East seems like there might be some parity this year.
No, that's a good thing, I think, for Gateway. When you're looking at an 0-3 record, you kind of know that it's not necessarily a bad thing that you're 0-3. There's still a lot of teams that you'll be facing in your conference, and it's really up for grabs.
Clean slate, so to speak. DuPill with a nice carry here, very nearly busted that one for a big, big gain. Still, it's about 10 yards. It'll be just shy of the first down, it looks like. It's the tackle made there, potentially a touchdown-saving tackle by Jair Phillips.
I think he might have made the touchdown-saving tackle, like you said, and DuPill just doing a great job. Moving forward, but finding the hole at the same time. He doesn't stop and wait to find the hole like a lot of running backs do. He goes forward, just plows his way through, and then just kind of goes back and forth, weaving in between the blockers.
So after 3rd and inches a moment ago, it's 2nd and inches, and the Gators going to get into the backfield, and they'll make it 3rd and a short one once again as a really nice effort getting into the backfield there. Jacob Santo, amongst others. He and Roberson Louise June bringing the ball carrier down to force this 3rd down.
Yeah, Santo and the gang timing that one perfectly for Gateway, not allowing the running back DuPill to go anywhere with that, and that's what they needed. Gateway here is Franklin Regional looking to cross midfield in this second quarter, and a big 3rd down.
Chance for the Gators to get off the field here, get that offense back out there. A big third down. Quick handoff and up the middle. A lot of spaces. Lemke and Lemke over midfield inside the 45 down to about the 41-yard line. And that will move the chains and, more importantly, move Franklin Regional into Gators territory.
Lemke took a hit. A nice tackle from Jair Phillips, but he did what he needed to do. He got several yards, over 15 yards on that one, and got the first down. Nice design there, is expecting the toss to the left side to number 24, Kyle Dupill, but instead Lemke kept himself.
So a fresh set of downs for the Panthers and a pass play here on first down. Lemke going to let this one go. 50-50 ball downfield, trying to come back to it. Aiden Hudak unable to come up with that good pressure, or good coverage rather. Jair Phillips, who's had his name called on just about every play this series, had a couple nice tackles, and here coming up with some nice coverage to make sure that Hudak unable to come back as he kind of pushed off a little bit there at the end. Phillips does a good job staying in lockstep with it.
Yeah, Phillips was kind of arguing, pull the motion of I want a flag for the push off, and Hudak off, or excuse me, the quarterback for Franklin Regional, Lemke, kind of off foot, kind of awkwardly throwing that one a little too short.
We'll go back to the ground game here on second down, and the Gators now a little momentum. Going to stop that one right in its tracks, and again, it is Kayan Mbandi along with Amari Gans in the backfield there, stopping that one. Factor Mark Knight in on that one as well. Good gang tackling by the Gators. So that'll bring up third and a long 9, it looks like. 9.5 minutes left before halftime. Gators again trying to get a stop. Take their first lead of the season. Hard to believe we're here week 3, 4th game of the season. Gators yet to lead in a game thus far this season. Pass downfield. That one intercepted. Going for Hudak, and who else? Jair Phillips. What a young man. Have yourself a drive. 2 big tackles. Defended the pass, and that time comes up with the interception as there is a Gator down. That looks like Steven Jenkins recently just returned to the lineup, and he's down and in some pain.
Yeah, you can see on your screen there Jenkins trying to cut back, and his leg just kind of locked up there on that one. But Jair Phillips with the interception, the turnover chain on. A nice play from him, and kind of a weird designed play there. Taking a look at this one, and you see Phillips' leg just kind of stopped there. And Lemke just throwing up a jump ball. Had one wide receiver open, stopped, decided not to make the throw, and then was running forward. I'm surprised there wasn't an ineligible man downfield on that play as well. It was how what seemed broken that was, but throwing that one, Phillips staying on his man the whole time, stepping up and making the pick.
That will give the Gators the ball back. It looks like the 27-yard line as the training staff continues to tend to Steven Jenkins, who we hope is up on his own volition sooner rather than later. Take a look at the Big East Conference standings. We talk about parity. No undefeated teams through the first 3 weeks of the season. Franklin Regional and Plum, the 2 teams with winning records thus far. Hempfield, Norwin, Penn Trafford all securing a victory in the non-conference in the early going. And the Gators hoping that tonight they get off the schneid and can start to turn this season in the right direction. And more importantly, Spencer, we talked about it, all those zeros on the left side of that graphic showing that those games matter, but in the long run, they kind of don't, because at the end of the day, the top 2 teams from this conference will qualify for the playoffs, and if one team does well enough, can secure that 3rd wild card, as we'll have 8 teams out of 23 get to the postseason out of 5A, the top 2 in the 3 different conferences, and then 2 wild cards as well. So the Gators 0-3, but effectively 0-0 when it comes to the games that really matter.
We talked about it before, how it doesn't necessarily matter. It's more of a tune-up in terms of just kind of getting your play style going. And Gateway been playing some tough teams. Mount Lebanon, of course, is a pretty good team. And on the other side for Franklin Regional, 2 wins, all 3 teams they played. And, of course, Thomas Jefferson, one of the best that you'll see in the WPIALs, regardless of what letter they have next to their names, or how many letters I should say. But all playing 4A teams, so 3 4A teams as a 5A team versus Gateway, who played Mount Lebanon, a 6A team. And good news, Steven Jenkins is able to come off the field kind of hobbling. Couldn't really put any pressure on that left leg. Saw him try to get up earlier, but just could not. At least a good sign, though, he is able to get up off the field with some help.
So Jenkins not putting any weight. Be taken right to the bench and continues to get tended to by the training staff. See if he returns to tonight's contest. A shame to see him go down after just getting back into the lineup. Birch on first down here, broken play, able to pull the ball down and move forward up over the 32-yard line. So it takes nothing and is able to turn that into something, a gain of about 4 yards to bring up second manageable.
Kind of the it factor, the X factor from Bradley Birch, missing the last couple weeks. He makes plays like that as a senior, being able to recognize where to go on a broken play and just get positive yardage out of it.
So second and medium here. Shotgun set again. Birch pulls this one down once again, but he's going to get driven back and sacked inside the 25-yard line. That'll take him all the way back to 22, but they'll mark his forward progress at the 25, and so that's going to bring up 3rd and long, call it 3rd and 12.
And a man open, Derek Selby there for Gateway, but just didn't have enough time. The pocket collapsing on him. Good job by Franklin Regional getting to the backfield. They're playing that soft coverage, Franklin Regional, is their DBs. They're playing back, 20, 30 yards back, letting them cut in.
3rd and long, tried to set up the screen, and now Birch just going to throw this one away. Gets walloped by a few Panthers at the end of that one, but is able to avoid losing any more yards. Good pressure there by a couple of Panthers, including Giuliano Marion, the 6'2", 215-pound senior.
Yeah, you see the halfback screen, but Owen Sinclair for Franklin Regional recognizing it immediately and went just man-to-man with him, and nothing that Birch could do other than throw it away. And I don't know how he even got that one off, to be honest, having all that pressure on him.
So Birch is now checked in as the punter, #1 overall. He's able to get rid of this one again. A beautiful punt. And that one's going to get loose, fumbled, and they're going to have to dive on that one. Is coughing that one up was Cole Brinker. That one bounced right off of his number, right on the front of his jersey. Luckily, Heath Sliva, the 5'10", 159-pound junior, heads-up play to get on that one.
Brinker coming back to the 40-yard line after a good punt from Bradley Birch and losing his footing in the process of trying to receive that punt. And the reason went right off the number and forward. Good news was one of his blockers was right there, Sliva, to cover that one up, and that could have been a big, big turnover for Franklin Regional.
So decent field position to start for the Panthers here after moving the ball into Gators territory and throwing the interception on 3rd down. Lemke picked off by Jair Phillips. Not before the Panthers were able to move the ball a decent amount. After the nice punt by Birch, they'll take over here on 1st down. They'll get it to Hudock. He's able to make 1 man miss, 2, 3 men miss, still on his feet. Does everything he can to basically get back to the line of scrimmage, and from there even, I think that's going to be a loss of a yard as we see some extracurriculars at the bottom of the screen. A couple players getting into it, including Brinker, who just fumbled a moment ago, and number 13, Carlos Diggs, for the Gators. So we'll see what the outcome of that is, if they call one or both personal fouls here, and if that moves the ball at all, or if these will offset.
You saw one flag, and then you saw a late flag really, really late after that one as well. So looks like they will offset. I don't know who was drawn first. I think it was Gateway who was drawn first, and then I think there was some pushing at the end there from Brinker that drew the offsetting penalty. So
certainly looked like a good bit of give and take down there. So ultimately,
but again, there was only one flag until really late, though. So that's tough for both of them. It's away from the play as well, just unnecessary. on that side.
They'll line up across from each other once again here. Run play. And the pile gets driven back. And another flag comes in along the sideline. We'll see if that's a sideline warning. There was certainly some conversation between the officials and the coaching staff for the Gators. Don Hall and company.
Flag on the play.
I believe I saw in sportsmanlike conduct, black bench was what I think what the referee was saying there.
So tension's boiling over a little bit here on the Gators sideline. That'll give 15 yards and a fresh set of downs on what would have been 3rd and 10 for Franklin Regional. And so that gives new life to the Panthers and gives them the ball at the Gateway 45. 7:22 left here in half number 1. Wildcat formation now. It's going to be Dupill who takes it, and he is stuffed. Absolutely nothing. He's going to lose a yard on that one. So the Gators now, Spencer, starting to push back a little bit. We're seeing more and more of these runs yielding net losses.
They're starting to figure it out, and the problem with Franklin Regional is they don't have any passing. Really only 1 or 2 attempts just to try and keep Gateway honest. But the fact is that they can't keep them honest because of plays like that. Now they're just trying to pull any tricks out. Wildcat formation, something like that. You need a crossing route or something on a play action to kind of keep those defensive backs 10 yards back instead of 5 yards back here in this one. Just, again, you just need a little bit of passing yards here so you can grow back to that ground game.
So timeout here. That'll be the second of the half for Franklin Regional. Gators still have all 3 of their timeouts, and certainly, yes, not a pass-heavy team through 3 games. Chase Lemke just 18 of 38 for 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions as well. Lemke able to move it with his legs a little bit, as we've seen so far through this one. Has a rushing touchdown on the season. But the Panthers, you saw it on the last drive. I didn't get a chance to talk about it much in pregame, Spencer, because we ran out of time. But turnovers in 2 of the games this season, 7 turnovers in just 2 games for the Panthers. Another one early on here as we take a look at the top 5 teams in 5A. Penn Hills coming off a big win over Pine Richland last week and a barn burner that went down to the end. They were able to get a stop win 26-20. They're currently trailing the Moon Tigers 7-0. We talked about Peters Township taking on South Fayette tonight. Upper St. Clair climbing their way in the top 5, even though they've had some scares against teams like Norwin and Baldwin, still unblemished at 3-0. The Shaler Titans, who we talked about, taking it to the Plum Mustangs last week in a matchup of unbeatens, and Pine Richland for the Post-Gazette. On the Trib side, the same teams and just a flip-flop of 4 and 5 as Pine Richland, as we saw last season, started under 500, played some tough games, ran the table down the stretch under head coach John Ladon. And they got themselves not only a WPIAL title, but a PIAA title as well. Looking to repeat this season. A chuck downfield. Phillips up for that one again, and that one's loose. Oh, the tip drill. A couple players collide there. Looked like Hudock and Kenny Lewis. Phillips again with a great heads-up play. Defends that pass, tips it up into the air, and Hudock able to get Lewis's way. That looked like it was going to be intercepted again.
Oh, he had 18 open over the top, but instead he goes all the way down to 16 for Franklin Regional. Hudock, and just a little bit underthrown there as well. You saw the coverage underneath, getting a tip on that one, and that might be the big problem with Franklin Regional. You saw that last pick, and then after that, they really haven't been able to throw the ball. They tried it that time, though. Give them credit.
They're going to try to do it again here. 3rd and long. Pass across the middle. That one is caught in a tight window, but a flag down at the bottom of the field, bottom of your screen. That one fit in a tight throw there. Able to get that one to Austin Kearns. And tentatively, that'll move the chains. We'll see what the call is here. It's going to be against the defense. Pass interference. That one's going to be declined. And so on 3rd and long, a nice pitch and catch there. Lemke across the middle, able to get it to the junior Austin Kearns. And Franklin Regional driving once again with 1st and 10 at the Gators 29.
That's a confidence throw right there. That's what they needed for Lemke as well, just to show that they have the ability to pass this ball.
Lemke will hand off to Dupill here on the read option, and they'll get a nice little chunk there of about 3 yards down to the 26-yard line, as we are about halfway through quarter number 2.
Stop by Knight and Louis Jones.
We'll actually back that up to the 27-yard line, so moderate gain, 2nd and 8 here for the Panthers. Trying to go ahead here, and they're going to get a little help there as jumping off sides for the Gators is Craig Schultz, a 6'2" sophomore defensive lineman. They'll take 2nd and 8 and turn that into 2nd and 3, moves the Panthers inside the 25. Gators have been
5 yards against
pretty good early in the game, but penalties have started to catch up to Gateway here in this second quarter. Now 2nd and short, they'll go back to number 24, and Dupill able to push his way very close to that 1st down marker. Looks like they'll get held up at the 20, so about a half-yard short. Nope, they are going to give it to the Panthers. The initial spot, it looked a little short, but officials confer, and they will move that one forward. It'll be 1st down with the Panthers in the red zone. Hudak will motion right to left across the set. See if they look his way. No, they'll go to Dupill, and Dupill dragging a Gator with him. That is Schultz once again getting in there and making a play to make that just a moderate gain. Call about 2 yards there.
I thought they were going to have the pass there. Hudak had man-to-man coverage as he went over to the left side. Thought you could get him into the corner of the end zone. Kind of a jump ball over there. Got the height Hudak does, but instead it's up the gut for number 24 for Franklin Regional and Dupill. I saw that motion. I saw the DB move with him, and I thought they want to get him one-on-one in the corner.
Go to Dupill again. He's able to get away from the first would-be tackler, has his jersey tugged a little bit, but he'll get himself inside the 15 down to the 14. That'll bring up 3rd and medium here for the Panthers. Seems like they are content to let the clock run a little bit, and they're well within Joey Bain's field goal range, so see how aggressive they get here on 3rd and 5.
I saw Payne hitting 45-yarders in warm-ups. Was a yard or two short from 55 as well, so definitely got the leg.
Hudak again, they'll fake the handoff inside the 10-yard line. We've seen that a couple times, a little misdirection, and then the QB keeper by Chase Lemke, he's able to knife through. By the time the Gators catch up to him, he was inside the 10-yard line, down toward the 5. They'll mark him down officially at about the 7-yard line, 1st and goal. Gators on their heels here, trying to avoid giving the lead back to the Panthers before the half. Trying to limit the Panthers to at least just a field goal attempt. The Panthers in a groove right now offensively. They'll hand it off again. Dupill trying to drive his way toward the end zone. He'll get stood up inside the 5, down near the 3-yard line.
Stop by Knight and Phillips.
Good blocking from Franklin Regional players. I mean, there's 2-3 linemen for the Panthers that are up the field, pushing their guys backwards. They keep doing that. They'll find the end zone here. This down to the next.
Wonder if the Gators try and call a timeout after this play, try and conserve a little time to get Brad Birch and the offense back on the field, run the 2-minute drill, regardless of what happens here as they send a man in motion. And they'll hand it off once again, and a big hit there, up high, bringing down the ball carrier. Craig Schultz got called for the penalty, and since then has come through and dropped Dupill a couple of times, including that one. My goodness, look at that replay.
Yeah, Dupill just gets in the backfield before the forward blocker can even get to him. Nice play, jumping that snap from Craig Schultz, who you just said before had the penalty the first time, but this time he gets it right.
So the Gators will take their first time out of the half, stops the clock at the 1-minute 54-second mark. Both of these teams looking to start out 1-0 in Big East Conference play. We talked about community night here in Marino Stadium. Nice crowd on hand. At halftime, we encourage everyone to avoid changing the dial or clicking away from their browser here. We'll have both the Gateway and Franklin Regional marching bands out on the field. Gators put on a nice performance last week in North Hills. Their band was quite a treat to watch last week as well. So stick around for that. This will be on for about 20 minutes between the end of our half number 1 and start of half number 2 here. And so far, this one has been competitive. Tied score inside 2 minutes. Panthers trying to change that. Screen pass to DuPill, and a good hit in the backfield there to bring up third down. Make it fourth down. Ari Gans able to make a touchdown-saving tackle there. The Gators will take another timeout, and we'll see what the decision is here for the Panthers, if they try to go for 6 or if they settle for an attempted 3.
And you see Payne on the field at around the 30-yard line, waiting to see if he's going to get the call or not, but doesn't look like he will just yet. Franklin Regional, third down, they go with a pass play there. A little bit of a halfback screen to the left side. The blocking just wasn't there just for that split second that they needed. That first guy gets back to him, and it forces Franklin Regional to have a fourth down and make a decision here with 1:40.
It would be a short field goal attempt for Joey Bain, who is in the huddle. It looks like they're going to at least line up in a field goal formation. Whether they kick it or fake it remains to be seen, but it'll be about a 22-yard field goal when all is said and done, going off of the left hash, so not in the center of the field. We'll see if that makes a difference for Bain, who is a right-footed kicker.
Joey Bain will attempt the field goal.
One thing's for sure, the Gators will get the ball back here with a decent amount of time to work with and a timeout still in their pocket. Good clock management and game management by Don Hall. Gators almost jumped there. Snap down, kick is up, and that one is good. So the Panthers have to settle for 3 after moving the ball incredibly well on that drive, and the Gators give themselves an opportunity with 1 minute 37 seconds left to go into the half with their first lead of the season.
That's huge for Gateway, especially after penalties and just the Panthers running them over on the ground. The fact that they're able to only hold them to 3 points here, even if they don't score it, but going into this halftime, you still have the ability, and coming out the second half with the ball, which will be a big thing as well for Gateway, to only be down 3 points here after a really good drive from Franklin Regional.
The Gators will get the ball back with 97 seconds and 1 timeout to work with. There have been some flashes there. We saw the 79-yard touchdown get pulled back due to a penalty, but we saw the Birch to Lewis connection. A beautiful ball. Arguably an even better catch by Lewis right over the shoulder, able to avoid a shoestring tackle and took it to the house before that one got called back. And the Gators will try and take the lid off of this Panthers defense once again. They've moved the ball in chunks. But other than that early touchdown run by Brad Birch, Franklin Regional's done a good job keeping their offense on the field. And so it feels like it's been a little while since we've seen the Gators offense, but they'll get another opportunity here upcoming. Put some points on the board before we head to halftime. We got a beautiful night. Now the sun has set. A little breeze rolling through. Really feels for the first time here like the end of summer, beginning of fall. We're not quite there yet. Still about a week or so away from flipping from summer to fall. But a great night for football here. You notice not a whole lot of cramping as we've seen through the first 3 weeks of the season. A little more temperate down there on the field.
Almost a rainbow sky there in the background. A beautiful sky after the sun has already gone down. You see that orange-yellow hue, and then as you go up more, a little bit of blue, the darkness.
Long kick, taken in the end zone, a touchback again. Lewis caught it, but he will not be able to do anything with it, much to his chagrin, as that's a touchback. A nice kick by Bain once again, the junior kicker. And so it'll be 80 yards to pay dirt for the Gators with a minute 37 on the clock. Once again, we see the band down there on the field, and so we remind you all to stick around throughout halftime. Certainly grab a snack, freshen up, get yourself ready for what should be a great second half and what's been a competitive game thus far. Both teams moving the ball well, but just 17 points between them here in half number one. Birch across the middle, deep pass, nice catch, able to absorb the hit there, and a good chunk play there, a gain of about 16 yards to Derek Selby across the middle, his first reception on the evening.
Selby's run that route a couple times, and Franklin Regional is giving them that seam there in the middle, and they're going to keep moving with it.
Birch going to pull this one down, able to get loose a little bit here. He'll get toward the sidelines and very smartly gets out of bounds up over the 40-yard line, close to the 45. And so, about 23 yards on 2 plays here. The Gators close to midfield already here. They've used just 16 seconds of clock and haven't had to use a timeout. Up-tempo offense working well here for the Gators. So they'll go to the ground. Reynolds gets swallowed up.
Reynolds over the middle.
On second and short, that'll bring up third and about 3.
Designed run. Really don't need to get any yardage on here. You're just keeping Franklin Regional honest on their pass defense.
Reynolds goes from left to right behind Birch, who is in the gun once again, and they'll hand it off again. And Reynolds able to dive up over the 45. They'll mark him down right at the 45, and so that's going to bring up 4th down here. And you wonder if Franklin Regional thinks about taking their last timeout. Instead, it's going to be the Gators who want to think this one over. 4th and a short one, and Spencer with under a minute left here to play. What are your thoughts on 2 straight run plays there?
Well, that second run play, you're trying to get the first down there because that'll stop the clock for a moment just to get.
Actually, not anymore. Or do they still do that? I'm thinking college where they change that rule. Disregard.
At least under 2 minutes, especially. You're going to get the clock stopped here just to try and move the chains. And that's tough for Gateway because if you get that first down, then you kind of have a little bit more room to work with. It's a first down, obviously. The clock is stopped, and then you go back to the passing. And that second play, that's, again, huge stop there for Franklin Regional late in this half. But now you're looking at a 4th and 1. And again, I've said the problem before. If you don't get it here, you've got 1 timeout for Franklin Regional. They're at the 45-yard line. Bain has a good foot, no doubt. We've seen it before. So you get 10, 15 yards on 1 pass, then you're in field goal range. This is a big 4th down.
Gators will go under center. Quarterback keeper. Pile moves a little bit, but
I don't think he got it.
I don't know that they got there. They haven't blown it dead yet. A second effort. Boy, they waited a long time to blow that whistle. They gave the Gators every opportunity to move that pile forward.
I still think he's short, though. Looking at it, now they're going to move it forward. They're going to give him the first, I believe.
They're going to have to move the chain gang quickly here.
Yeah, that line judge, it didn't look like he had gotten to that 44-yard line, or 46-yard line, excuse me, but just enough. Barely gets the first.
Now clock it here.
And Franklin Regional's got to be angry about that because that was a very long time to let that thing go.
Birch on the spike, second down.
That second effort proves to be the difference for the Gators, who with 29 seconds left are able to spike the ball to stop the clock. Brings up 2nd and 10. They're going to have to get some chunk yards here. Just one timeout. Or rather, now no timeouts. Forgot we just called that a minute ago. Franklin Regional going to call their last timeout. So a little bit of chess being played here between the coaching staffs. Don Hall for the Gators. For Franklin Regional, it's 3rd year coach Lance Getzy for the Panthers. So we'll have a little time to think this one over. See Getzy and staff down there on the field coaching up the defense, trying to stop the Gators here with 29 seconds left. Both offenses have shown an ability to move the ball in chunks. The Gators, as we talked about, had the long pass play called back. They are the team known for the explosiveness, and got 29 seconds and no timeouts to try and get themselves either into field goal range for Blake Marsh or to try and get this ball to Pater to take the lead into halftime. Soon you'll probably see passes from here on out, or passing plays at least. Birch has had the savviness to pull that ball down, and had a nice gain earlier on this drive where he was able to get himself out of bounds to boot. Gators at their own 46, 2nd and 10. Selby, the motion man, makes it 3 receivers to the right. Birch got to get rid of this one quick, able to evade the first would-be tackler. That's going to be a sack all the way back inside the 35. And for all intents and purposes, that is probably going to bring an end to this drive. It's a great effort there to disrupt that play was Owen Sinclair. Phillips motions. Gators will just give another heave-ho to this one. Deep shot across the middle of the field. That's intercepted. Aiden Hudock, a man that can make things happen in space. He's up over the 50. He's held at least for a minute, still trying to get away from tacklers, but Jair Phillips, along with Dyson Harper, able to bring him down. There's a flag on the field. You have a good sense that that's probably on the offense, so that will be nullified. Gators are already heading toward the locker room. Penalty is declined, so the interception gets the ball to midfield, but that is where we end that drive in this half. Gators in this one, a competitive first half, 10-7 our score. And Spencer, your first half takeaways as we get ready to march toward the second half with the marching bands getting onto the field.
It's a pretty evenly matched game, I think. I think Franklin Regional really has been able to run the ball. Their weakness is passing, though. We saw 4 picks for their quarterback a couple weeks ago against Thomas Jefferson, and when he has the ability to make those plays, he can, but he's very inconsistent in passing, which is something that Gateway needs to take advantage of. If they can really work with that, it seems like Gateway offensively on the rush and the pass have done a lot better than Franklin Regional. It's just the fact that that drive right there from Franklin Regional, it was huge that they only stopped them to 3 points after running the ball. They weren't able to get any passes going.
And on the other side, the Gators defense got carved up a little bit early in that first quarter, but it really seems like they've come around and have halted the ground game to some respect for Franklin Regional.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, is that they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to figure out defensively what to do compared to last year, especially where we saw Franklin Regional just continue to run all over them. And again, when you're Franklin Regional, you have to open up that pass, and you're not able to. Gateway is a lot better this year figuring that out and being able to stop that run. So it'll be interesting to see how Franklin Regional can respond to Gateway kind of figuring out their running.
Both teams with a takeaway in that first half via interception. Both teams with a touchdown, the 57-yard run, or pass play, rather, from Lemke to Hudock, and then the 2-yard run by Brad Birch. The field goal by Joey Bain from 22 yards out is our difference at the half. We'll step aside, let the bands play, stick around for that, and we'll be right back in about 15 to 20 minutes for half number 2 with Franklin Regional leading the Gateway Gators 10-7 here on GatewayGatorProductions.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building.
The Panther Band, directed.
High school marching band. Gateway Marching Band is directed by Mr. Ryan Whitaker, with assistance from Kelly McMaster's Parsons, Sean McMasters, Dave Burnett, and Violet Dunlop, with color guard direction by Jamie Carter, Deb Coster, Gina Gottman, and Rachel Allen. The Gateway Band would like to extend well wishes to the Franklin Regional Band for a fantastic season. Thank you for your kind support.
Getting set to start half number 2 here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Gators trail the Franklin Regional Panthers by just 3 after half number 1. 10-7 our score here at Antimarino Stadium. Elsewhere in Big East action, one other contest tonight. It's the Plum Mustangs lead the Norwin Knights 16-7 in that one. A couple other scores of note just around 5A. We talked about a matchup of interest between Peters Township and South Fayette. Indians lead 28-0 over South Fayette in that one. Good barn burner between two teams in the Northeast Conference, Woodland Hills and North Hills, two squads that the Gators have seen thus far this season. They're knotted up at 7. And then Penn Hills just recently took the lead. They were trailing 7-0 against Moon, the Tigers, out of the Allegheny 6 Conference, but 13 straight points by the Indians put Penn Hills ahead 13-7. And then elsewhere, over in Harrison City, Penn Trafford at the half trails Bell Vernon 7-0. But again, our score here, 10-7 Franklin Regional. And Spencer, as we have a moment before we kick off here for half number 2, the Gators getting set to receive. Thoughts going into our final 24 minutes of play?
It's going to be interesting to see what adjustments have been made. Obviously, we've seen it's a lot different from the first 2 drives versus the last 2 drives of this game. But for both Franklin Regional and Gateway, Franklin Regional was able to run the ball down the throat of the Gators. The Gators adjusted a little bit coming into the end of the second half. Gateway was able to pass really, really well against Franklin Regional. Can Franklin Regional play a better defense in the secondary? And can they stop Birch from throwing the ball all over them? So it'll be interesting to see both of these teams. And again, I think that's just going to be the thing. I don't think there's a team right now that is clearly leading this game. Obviously, Franklin Regional is leading by 3, but when it comes to statistics or anything like that, I don't think, or even the mentality and the momentum, I don't think either of these teams have a lead.
Certainly was a tightly contested first half. Both teams moved the ball well. Played good enough defense to keep this one low scoring. 10-7 here as we get underway. This one will hang and be fumbled inside of the 5-yard line. Kenny Lewis has to go all the way back there to get it. Able to make a few men miss, and now he's got himself a hole up over the 25-yard line, up over the 30. Spins away from a few would-be tacklers and is down at the 35-yard line. And so, my goodness, a play that looked like it was going to be disastrous for a minute. Joey Bain let that one sort of hang up. Kenny Lewis fumbles the ball, runs past it, picks it up, and still is able to get one heck of a return out of it.
Kenny Lewis almost got a stern talking to on the sideline, and now the bench is just exuberant over what he just did there. Nice run from Lewis, didn't panic under pressure, got the ball and got over to the sidelines, and a very good start for Gateway.
So the Gators will take over, going right to left across your screen. On the far side hash from where we are here in the press box, 1st and 10. At the 35-yard line, down 3 points, looking to take their first lead of the year. They're going to tack another 5 yards on here, a false start on the Gators. Let's talk about how we got here in this one. First drive of the game. It was a screen pass, a little bubble screen from quarterback Lemke over to Aiden Hudock. 57 yards from 8 to 16. Chase Lemke with the long touchdown pass. PAT was good, 7-0. Gators on the next possession went right down the field. A good mix of run and pass. Brad Birch finished it off with a 2-yard run. And then later in the half, a quick connection for a 22-yard field goal. Joey Bain. Now it's Jenkins who's back into the game. Jenkins, no flags on the field. Jenkins is gone. 70-yard touchdown. The Gators had a 79-yard score called back earlier in this one. No laundry on the field. A quick pitch and catch, and Jenkins, who had missed much of the first half with an injury, looked fine there as he goes 70 yards for the score.
Looked a lot similar to the Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs. You see Burt stepping up and throwing this one. and it's caught by the receiver, Jenkins, and Jenkins, that defensive back, just kind of goes at his legs, doesn't really try and make the tackle, and Jenkins is able to just spin away from it and run down the sideline for the touchdown. Big miscue from Franklin Regional. Good job seeing him. Birch was able to find him for the touchdown.
Bit of a high snap. That kick no good, wide left. So the Gators leave a point on the table there. But for the first time this season, your Gateway Gators are ahead here on GatewayGatorProductions.com. 13-10 after the 70-yard quick connection from Brad Birch to Jenkins, who's missed much of the season thus far, but able to find the end zone there. And the Gators lively here in front of a home crowd on community night. And a chance to get that defense out on the field. They played pretty well in the second quarter, Spencer.
They did. They definitely did. And I think that that's something that Gateway could really look for as a positive. We talked about it back at the first half. They were able to stop Franklin Regional and held them to just a field goal. And then they got the ball back in the second half. And right off the get-go, the Gators, with their first lead of the year, is able to respond.
And Brad Birch's first touchdown pass of the season. I don't think many Gators fans would have had on their bingo card that would have taken until week 3. Certainly injuries playing a part in that. Birch and Jenkins, you see on the sidelines there, pumped up. And the Gators understand that, as we talked about, it's 0-3 start. Unfortunate injuries have played a part. The Gators playing without a number of starters throughout the first few weeks, but the slate gets wiped clean when it comes to conference play, and the Gators know that if they hang on tonight and they're able to get a victory, they're one step closer to making the postseason yet again, which has become an annual tradition here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania for the Gateway Gators. So all in told, we're just 26 seconds in here to the second half. Blake Marsh will tee this one up on the near side of your screen here, the left hash. Going right to left. And he'll give boot to ball. Franklin Regional will touch it for the first time in this half. This one a bit of a squib kick. Travels a good bit, though, down inside the 10. That's where Aiden Hudock will take it. And Hudock now with a hole. Up over the 30, up over the 40, over the 50, down to the 40. Blake Marsh, the last man to try and bring him down. And a last gasp effort there to save the touchdown. My goodness, an incredible effort there by T.J. Mitchell, who scored the touchdown last week on a heads-up special teams play. He saves the touchdown, but not before Hudock and company set up in prime real estate in the red zone here. A chance to go back in front.
Hudock has had really good returns, and you see Blake Marsh, last man to beat. You got to try and keep him over to the sidelines, and then hopefully you have a man coming back is able, when he cuts back, to try and evade that last kicker. And that's exactly what T.J. Mitchell was there. Never gave up on the play and was able to get back and make the saving tackle.
All in told, it sets the Panthers up at the 18-yard line. They'll hand it to Dupill, number 24, the upperclassman, Kyle Dupill. Nice gain on first down. We'll take that ball inside the 15-yard line. Down to about the 14, so gain of 5 there, all in told, for the Panthers. I'll hand it back to Dupill. Dupill again goes right to left, able to dance away from a few would-be tacklers, and he's into the end zone. A 13-yard touchdown, and the Panthers, just like that, 3 plays later, are back in front.
It's another one to Dupill again, taking a look, really good blocking, opening the hole. That was Owen Sinclair for Franklin Regional, was able to turn his man away from the ball, and Dupill is able to get in, bounce away, make a juke to sidestep, I should say, from one tackler, find his way into the end zone, and a response from Franklin Regional, to say the least.
Joey Bain on for the PAT, the talented junior kicker. Snap good, hold good, kick is up. That splits the uprights. And so the Panthers back in front. 13-17, we have ourselves a barn burner here. The Gators, though, give up the long return, and then 2 carries by Kyle Dupill put the Panthers back in front. Dupill's 5th touchdown of the season. That'll put the Gators offense that just struck quickly back on the field. And again, we are 1 minute and 4 seconds into this second half, Spencer. And we
were not on pace for this scoring.
Already have 13 points on the board.
Barn burner wasn't on my bingo card coming out of halftime either, in terms of either of these offenses. But
both teams move the ball well in chunks, but we didn't really see a ton of explosiveness other than the 79-yard touchdown. They got called back, but a beautiful connection. Birch to Steve Jenkins down the field for about 15 yards, but then Jenkins able to dance away from the would-be tackler, and then Aiden Hudock setting the Panthers up with excellent field position, which they waste no time in capitalizing on. Once again, it'll be Kenny Lewis and Terrence Cole back. Cole has not had a chance to return one in this one, but has been superb with the ball in his hands on special teams. And Kenny Lewis, as you talked about, very nearly got a talking to on the sidelines after fumbling inside the 5, but was able to pick it up, take it back up to the 35-yard line. Looks like this one will carry his way once again. He catches it cleanly, and now he'll head upfield. Makes one man miss, is able to get outside initially, and now he's going to cut it across the field. Has a couple blockers in front. He gets to the edge over the 30, over the 35, over the 40, and up to midfield, still on his feet. Down inside the 45-yard line to the 43, and the Gators don't quite get to where Aiden Hudock got, but my goodness, Kenny Lewis with 2 excellent returns in succession here to start half number 2.
I was almost frustrated. I thought Kenny Lewis could bounce it out to the outside there, but instead he cuts it back to the middle and then just swings it around all the way to the left side. Has a couple blockers with him. And really the special teams who, for both of these teams, did you expect this to be the big difference coming into the second half?
So now it's the Gators who will start this offensive possession in opposition territory, officially the 44-yard line. After a nearly 50-yard kick return by Kenny Lewis. 4 receivers set, and they'll go back to Lewis, and Lewis gets popped there as that one just a little far out in front on the bubble screen there. Can't blame the Gators for trying to go back number 4's way, as the last 2 times he's touched the ball, he's looked electric.
Not a bad play design there, as you expect Lewis to try and cut back in. That's what that's what Birch was expecting for Gateway, and just out of reach.
4 receiver set once again. Reynolds in pass protection. They're going to go deep here. Bit of a wobbler, but they give the receiver a chance. Derek Selby can't get around to that one. Pleading with the officials for a flag there. Won't get it. Good coverage on the play. And it looked like number 13, Jameer Austin.
Yeah, and I understand why he's going to want the flag, but the fact of the matter is they were both holding each other. Both of them grabbing. Birch throwing that one back shoulder, exactly where you need to throw that one to keep it away from the defensive back, but good no call by the refs.
So sits up 3rd and 10 after the 2 incompletions, and Birch is going to pull this one down on the QB keeper, and he's got himself some running room, dancing past a couple would-be tacklers inside the 30, still on his feet. He'll get walloped from behind by his counterpart at the quarterback position, Chase Lemke, who plays both ways, but not before Birch is able to get close to 15 yards and a first down.
Birch showing off the feet here, making a couple guys miss, and then when he bounces it outside, right there, just getting enough out there.
How about Lemke missing on the tackle the first time, coming back and getting it the second time? Good hustle. Another deep shot here across the middle, and Lewis can't come up with that one. That one looked just a little low there for the intended target. Lewis bring up 2nd and 10. Another look at that one.
And I'll tell you what, if Lewis catches this one, he might be able to juke that just to the outside and score. That defensive back gets there late for Franklin Regional and just out of his reach.
So after the Birch run, 2nd and 10 at the 31-yard line of the Panthers. And they'll go to the air again, will the Gators. Birch going to pull it down, and again makes a few men miss. And again we'll have first down yardage and a little more. Then takes a hit up high at the end of that one. And Spencer, that's going to tack even more yards on as they hit Birch up high right in that helmet.
That's Kyle Dupel, the running back for Franklin Regional, playing linebacker. Another look at this one for Birch. You see Birch scramble. He's able to get there. And he never goes down. But the problem is that Dupil kind of lowers his helmet, and the problem was the guy behind him taking him down, which put him helmet to helmet in that situation. So Dupil, again, not innocent per se, but just a unfortunate situation there for him. You take another look. Watch here. You're going to have Birch scramble, and then a guy who's trailing him is going to take him down. That's Jude Gentile, and you'll see
against the Panthers.
Your personal foul against the Panthers. That was against number 24, Kyle Dupil.
So that's going to be a half the distance to the goal penalty. The original run was good for 13. Tack on another 9 yards on the penalty. Takes the ball from the 31-yard line down to the 9. It's a 1st and goal. They'll hand it off to Reynolds here, and Reynolds able to get to the outside, inside the 5. And that's going to be coming back as it looks like a holding call in the backfield against the Gators.
Yeah, one of the linemen who pulled there is going to be called for the holding. It's going to be right there on your screen. That's 78 for
Flag on the play.
Gateway, Malik Anderson. We called for that holding. Just got him on the outside of the sleeve. If you can grab him, you grab him on the inside of the arms, and he had him outside near the shoulders. And they're going to call that one every time, especially in that interior line.
Holding against the Gators.
Put the ball at the 21-yard line. So that'll be a loss of 12. Jenkins in motion, but he'll settle in. Tight end position. Another quick out to Lewis. Lewis able to make one man miss, gets inside the 15-yard line.
Pass is complete.
They'll mark him down forward progress at the 14. So a gain of 7 on 1st and long. Make it 2nd and still long, but much more manageable.
That's nice awareness from Lewis for
2nd down.
Gateway. It's Kyle Dupil playing him up, cutting in, kind of cheating up a little bit to take away the inside. So Lewis is able to bounce it immediately, just turn and go towards the sidelines.
Quick run here. It's Reynolds, and Reynolds has stood up, another hard hit. But not before Reynolds is able to weave his way.
Around left end.
Just cramping down on the sidelines. Hopefully that's all it is. It's certainly what it looks like. Reynolds able to get to the 9 there, which brings up 3rd and 9. Player down on the field, Brent Hickey, for Franklin Regional.
And definitely a cramp from Hickey. He's able to get up and walk off on his own power. Franklin Regional, Gateway moving the ball, passing here in this one. They're finding the open man, and it's just that second effort from Gateway, because when you don't have the open man for Birch, he breaks it out himself. He's able to get some yards. You got to keep a spy on Birch now if you're Franklin Regional. But he's finding the opening targets for the Gators. But they're deep in their own territory. We talked about this before. They weren't able to finish in the last couple games. How will they do it here, though?
Quick pitch here on 3rd and long, and Reynolds gets stood up initially. Is able to absorb one hit, but won't get much further. So it'll be a gain of a yard. I think this is likely 4-down territory for the Gators as they'll keep the offense on the field.
Yeah, a couple big hits there. Sliva, and Jude Gentile were both there for Franklin Regional. And again, 4-down territory here for the Gators.
3 receivers, Jenkins at the tight end position. They'll send Lewis in motion. High snap, pressure coming. Birch gets away from one, throws this back of the end zone. And it's not going to get to Jenkins, who again wants a flag. They're not going to get it. That play blown up before the Gators could execute the way they really wanted to.
Yeah, Jenkins is going to argue that the defensive back was grabbing his pants there just to keep him in check when he cuts it back. Again, a broken play, so Jenkins just decides to go to the corner of the end zone to the left side, and the DB kind of held on to him for a little bit. The argument, at least that's what Jenkins has. The other argument, though, is that it wasn't really that much grabbing. It was just a little bit of a tug just to keep him in check and make sure he's there. The referees aren't going to call that one.
Birch unable with the pressure to really get good footing there to put that where he needed in the back of the end zone. So also not really that catchable of a ball, and that's no slight to Birch. He did everything he could with the pressure that was in his grill. As Jude Gentile, as we talked about, knifed in there unblocked.
Now we're in a situation where that first touchdown, where that with the extra point that was missed coming into this second half here, how important it is, because now instead of you could have taken the field goal and made it a tie game. You were down 4, so the field goal really doesn't make a difference. You're still down 1 point. You kind of have to go for it there on 4th down in order to hopefully take the lead back. And if you keep going back and forth like this, you're stuck at that 1-score game, but a touchdown is going to be the difference.
Worth noting, Franklin Regional just called a timeout, so that's their first here in the second half, leaves them with 2.
Interesting.
They had to blow a couple timeouts throughout that first half. The Gators did a good job giving themselves a chance to score late. Though they did not come up with points at the break, they did a good job of saving their timeouts to stop the clock a few times, leading up to the Joey Bain field goal to give them about 97 seconds and a timeout on offense. So as we return to the field of play here, Franklin Regional in the shadow of its own end zone here. They'll start this drive at the 7-yard line, 93 yards to go to pay dirt. This Gators defense going to pin their ears back, see if they can get a safety here. It's a quick handoff to Dupil, a flag thrown from the back judge toward that offensive line, and we'll see what the call is. It's going to be holding. Holding on the offense. There is the signal. So.
Interesting, the back judge, not normally the one to call holdings in that situation, but just had a good look at it on the interior line.
So that's going to back Franklin Regional up to about the 4-yard line. We'll repeat first down from there. Be about 1st and 13 here for the Panthers. Now standing in their own end zone is Lemke, fakes the pitch. That's a play that worked for them in that first half, and Lemke able to find a little bit of daylight before the hole closes up over the 5-yard line to what looked like close to
over the middle.
The original line to gain for this drive,
Short gain.
the 7-yard line. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, back where they were just 2 plays ago. A little bit of breathing room now for Franklin Regional as Lemke just right inside of his end zone.
And again, they'll go to Dupil. Dupil thrusts himself forward and keeps that pile moving up close to the 15-yard line. So that'll take 2nd and long and bring up 3rd and short.
Again, for Franklin Regional, whether it's Dupil or even Lemke keeping it himself, they never go down on the first initial contact. It takes a couple guys to bring these players down for Franklin Regional.
Kay and Bandy at the bottom of that pile. You saw him sort of grab Dupil as he passed through the hole and was able to help take him to the turf with the help of a few others. Got up a little slow from the bottom of that pile. And it's 3rd and 4. Fake pitch, and again, Lemke keeps it, but nothing going this time. And the Gators will get a stop. And in all likelihood, get the ball back here as the Panthers going to have to think about bringing that punt team out here with it being 4th and medium, well inside their own territory.
I thought that one was going to be pitched out to Jude Gentile, who thought maybe he could get around the corner there and get the first, but instead Lemke kept it himself, and they are going to force a punt.
So the Gators turn over the ball on downs with a goal-to-go situation, but allows them to get a stop deep in their own territory, and now Kenny Lewis going to come up and take this one inside his own territory, falls on it, at the 45-yard line of the Franklin Regional Panthers. So a short field for the Gators, winning that field position battle. Can they turn it into points, and can they take back the lead? We're halfway through the third quarter here on Gateway Gator Productions, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, joining us on what has been a dandy thus far, a competitive game. We got a lot more coming up for you. Take a look at our upcoming broadcasts. Girls soccer. Spencer, I assume you'll be there for that one on the call against Greensburg-Salem. And the next Friday, Adam Gusky and I will take the reins against Plum. Spencer back on the call, little girls volleyball, and then Hempfield in a few weeks. Bob Orquist and myself on the call for that one. Little boys soccer on Thursday, October 5th versus Plum. Friday, the Battle of the Bell. And a little double-header toward the end of the week in the second week of October against McKeesport. Little girls volleyball, a little bit of football. Spencer, myself, Adam Gusky, Bob Orquist. We'll all have a great time bringing those contests to you between Football Fridays and the Gateway Game of the Week. Showing some love and getting to highlight some of the other sports this fall. So an all-important matchup here. These two teams trying to go 1-0 in Big East play. These two teams both finishing 4-1 last season, sharing the conference crown and trying to repeat as champs once again. And for the Gators, looking for a little revenge. A team that was ranked in the top 3 in the state at this time last year. Went into Murraysville, lost 16-7. Now a chance to get their first win of the year, the Gators, and to dole out a little punishment back Franklin Regional's way. They'll start this drive now at the 50-yard line, they say. Very nearly, Brad Birch with the hard count almost gets the Panthers to jump there.
Yeah, Jude Gentile thought he got offsides there.
They'll hand it to Reynolds. Reynolds, big hole, inside the 40, inside the 35, spun around and down, inside the 30, toward the 28. They needed 10. Looks like they got about 22 on that play.
First down.
Nice burst there from Reynolds.
Great block, 72. Chase Gabriel for Gateway, opening that hole for Reynolds.
So a 21-yard run officially, and this one going to get stopped before it gets started. Good job standing that one up is Giuliano Marion, the 6'2", 215-pound senior.
You see Marion just able to disengage with his blocker and take him down. And a big stop needed there for Franklin Regional as a player is getting a cramp attended to. I believe that's Austin Kearns for the Panthers.
So while we wait for Kearns to get back to his feet, we'll see if we can find a few other scores of note. Seeing that Latrobe is hanging in the peripheral with Thomas Jefferson 28-14 in a 4A matchup. More importantly, for this group, Big East football, Shaler and Hempfield in a non-conference matchup. Hempfield hanging around trying to pull the upset against the top 5 Shaler Titans. 23-17 in that one in the third quarter. So take a look at now the Northeast Conference, the third and final look at the standings across 5A. We saw the Allegheny 6. We saw the Big East and now the Northeast Conference with Penn Hills, the unanimous #1 across Pittsburgh. They were on upset alert for a little while. 13 consecutive points. They have a lead, not a comfortable lead, but a lead over the Moon Tigers. Shaler, as we just talked about, a 6-point lead. North Hills and Woodland Hills playing tonight. Fox Chapel being dominated by Upper St. Clair, and then haven't seen a Pine Richland score just yet, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. But a very competitive Northeast Conference, as it seems it has been for the past several years. Penn Hills, the #1 team this year in 5A, returning a lot from last year's team that missed the playoffs with a winning record based on a tiebreaker, losing to North Hills, who went to the playoffs at 3-7. 2nd and 10, Birch, nifty move there to get some space. Ball to the back of the end zone. It's a jump ball, incomplete. Jenkins unable to come down with that one, went up for it, but good coverage there by the Panthers to bring up 3rd and long.
Another look at this one. You see Jenkins, top of your screen, goes one way, goes to the right. You see he's open near the corner of the end zone. Man staying with him, though, Chase Lemke, is the quarterback for Franklin Regional, is able to hang with him and get a hand on that one.
So 3rd and long. Birch going to pull this one down. This has worked a few times. Looks like it's going to work again. Birch able to get first down yards and more inside the 20, down close to the 15-yard line. They needed 10. Looks like they got about 13 on that QB keeper.
Birch does not hesitate to take a shot if he needs to get a first down. You see bouncing off one tackle, taking a hit, but getting the first down for the Gators. The leadership of that senior quarterback for Gateway.
Fresh set of downs. Birch pulls this one back, and that one's going to lose yardage. A lot of pressure there. Birch had to get rid of that one quickly, and Derek Selby catches it behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, a little off-balance throw there from Birch as you take another look. Did have some pressure on him. And Selby just going down and catching it.
2nd down, 11.
Doing everything he can to just hold on to that ball as he falls down. But 2nd and 11 now, no harm really in that one.
Gators in the red zone on a 2nd consecutive drive here in this 2nd half. Birch, pressure, able to get rid of this one, and that one well defended there. Tried to get that one into a tight window. That one taken away. Heath Sliva able to get a hand in there as the intended receiver for the Gators. Not exactly sure who that is from the vantage point we have right at the second. Looks like that's Kenny Lewis cramping up for a 2nd straight week. And we talked about it last week, Spencer. You see a lot of guys that play 2 ways in high school football, even here at 5A. But let's not forget, Kenny Lewis is the punt returner and kick returner. He's playing all 3 facets of this game. Even at 15 to 18 years old, that takes a toll on a body.
Yeah, you're never really getting a break, especially in WPIAL football like this, as Lewis and one of the head coaches are having a laugh there. So it looks a good sign to see that he looks to be all right on that one. But yeah, I mean you see that a lot in the lower league, in the lower levels, especially 1A, 2A, where players will have to play both sides of the ball, and you'll see maybe a kicker or something like that. The running back usually is just a returner, and then maybe he doesn't usually play defensive back as often, but you'll see that every once in a while. But the fact that you can play pretty much every snap is an impressive feat, regardless of the level and regardless of which level of WPIAL football it is.
So again, while Lewis gets stretched out and back to his feet, hopefully sooner rather than later. A couple updated scores for you. Woodland Hills leading 21-7 over North Hills in a Northeast Conference matchup. So we see Lewis hobbling ever so slightly back to the sidelines. We'll hope to see him return to the game. And Bell Vernon opening up a 21-0 lead over Penn Trafford.
I have to update real quick. Baldwin did score a touchdown. They brought it within 60. So it's 67-7, North Allegheny up on Baldwin. Had to bring that one up.
2 teams that were both 6A a couple years ago. Baldwin dropping down to 5A in the Allegheny 6 Conference. North Allegheny, the defending champs in 6A, having a field day. Pass across the middle. It looked like the DB might have gotten there just a little early, but there's not going to be any call on that one. As again, on the defense there, Heath Sliva, a couple pass breakups in a row. Take another look at this one.
Another look at this one from Sliva, and that ball being behind him kind of helps his case there, I think, for Sliva, and the fact that he got a little bit of a hand in there a little too early. Like you said, Vince, I don't know if that's a 50-50 call right there, and I could see it going against Franklin Regional. Looks like we had a miscue on who should be out there, forcing the Gators to take a timeout.
Yeah, frustration from Don Hall and company as Malik Anderson not ready. Gators have to burn an all-important timeout here, their first of the second half. Gives Don Hall and company a little time to think this one over as they look prepared to trot out Blake Marsh for a 34-yard field goal attempt. I believe his first actual field goal attempt on the season. Saw Marsh, he handles the duty on kickoffs and was, for the first 3 weeks of the season, the primary punter for the Gators. Had a couple bobbled snaps last week, and so they have opted for Brad Birch, who's done quite well tonight as the punter for the Gators. So now Marsh going to try to bring the Gators within one here. Will be a 34-yard field goal for the right-footed kicker as he takes this one from the left hash. Franklin Regional playing off as if there might be a fake, but they're going to kick this one. Marsh, the kick is up, and that one is good. An excellent kick from 34 that looked like it would have been good from a whole heck of a lot farther.
And a good confidence boost for Marsh, who missed the extra point earlier this game. So good to see for him as well, bringing that to within a 1-point game. Gateway getting a field goal out of this, but again, 2 red zone drives. One resulted in a 4th down that was not converted. The other one, a missed field goal a field goal for Gateway. So only getting 3 points out of 2 red zone drives. It's big for the Gators and big for the Panthers here, who I think they need to start working the clock down now if they want to keep this one up for Franklin Regional. And that's exactly what they're really, really good at, is chewing the clock.
Nothing else. The Gators able to spend a good bit of time on offense here in this third quarter. Just one drive for the Panthers did result in a touchdown. Actually 2. Excuse me. A very quick Aiden Hudock return for a 2-play offensive drive and a touchdown run by DuPils. This one another short kick, trying to keep that ball away from Hudock, who's going to try to be the lead blocker here. The Panthers will start out with the ball at about the 30-yard line. But then a second drive for the Panthers results in no points and a quick 3-and-out deep in their own territory after that turnover on downs. And so the Gators defense looking to get them off the field again.
That was Colt Brinker who brought that one, who's the second man up, went back, and Hudock was coming forward, and they collided with each other. And it's good that Brinker was able to hold on to that one after both players colliding into each other on that return. A lot easier to move forward to get the ball than to move back. But Brinker's argument, he was right there. He stood under it and just caught that one there himself. But regardless, Franklin Regional is able to work at the 30 now.
That ball, nose of the ball just touching that 30-yard line, and it's a quick pitch to Gentile, who came into this game averaging about 5.2 yards a carry. A little shy of it there, as it looks like that one goes for about 4 yards up to the 34-yard line, make it 2nd and 6.
He was relatively quiet in the first half. Gentile was on offense. Heard more of him on defense. I think he had a penalty and a couple tackles in the first half, but they've kept him in here for the second half as the leading rusher right now.
They'll call his number again, but that play is blown up coming off the edge there. They switched at the last minute. S.J. Moorfield able to knife in there. An excellent tackle there by the sophomore.
See Moorfield recognizing that it's the run. And once it was given to Gentile, he just cuts it in and takes him down in a good defensive play from Moorfield, the sophomore for Gateway.
So that turns 2nd and medium into 3rd and a little long here. 7 yards. See if they dial up a pass play. Low snap. Play action pass. They'll get this one out. That one's a jump ball. Hudock comes up with it, makes a few miss, and he'll be brought down, but not before he is into Gators territory inside the 45. And Spencer, I see you pointing. Looks like there is a flag on the field and potentially an ineligible man downfield.
Yeah, Gateway's going to keep saying that this one's going to be coming back here as you take another look. That's a jump ball, and, you know, it is going to come back. But regardless of that one, I do want to mention getting bailed out on that one is we saw 4 interceptions against Thomas Jefferson. I think he had a couple against Greater Latrobe for Franklin Regional's Chase Lemke, and he threw that one up. That's a jump ball that is very dangerous in a situation like that.
Certainly it helps to have a guy like Aiden Hudock on your squad who's 6'1", and at this level looks more like a tight end than a wideout. Certainly a lot of size. So after the penalty, that's going to back what was 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 12 as we wind under 2.5 minutes here in the third quarter.
3rd down, 12.
Gators with another opportunity to pin the ears back, get some pressure on the quarterback in what is a passing situation. They'll set up the screen. DuPill able to rumble forward. A couple missed tackles, and the ball comes loose at the end. They have not blown the whistle. Here come the Gators. It's Kenny Lewis inside the 20, 10, 5, touchdown. They did not blow that play dead, and the Gators get the scoop and the score. Kenny Lewis goes 40 yards to pay dirt. I think everyone is shocked for better or for worse here. The pile sort of stopped, the ball came loose, and Lewis, the heads-up play, takes that one to the end zone.
You play to the whistle, and then you argue after that. You see a couple players for Franklin Regional, Ethan Sliva being one of them, arguing while the player for Gateway is running by him. That was Kenny Lewis who had picked up that ball and took it to the house. Sliva's arguing while Lewis goes right by him. Franklin Regional is getting their money's worth, at least in terms of a mouthful with the side ref initially, and now the Panthers look stunned. I mean, they look stunned on the field.
Looked like they were about to convert a 3rd and 12 and take momentum here as the Gators will be forced to call a timeout here. It looks like they're going to go for 2 to make it a 7-point game. Lance Getzy and company cannot believe it. Another play where they let the pile continue to move for a few seconds. We saw the Gators benefit from that on a 4th and short where it looked like Brad Birch may have gotten stopped short initially, but they let that play go a little longer than you might see some officials. That pile surged forward, kept the drive alive for the Gators, and here that pile kept moving for DuPill, who was not yet down. The whistle had not yet blown. The ball comes loose, and there you see Kenny Lewis taking it to the house.
Now you start to get to dangerous territory, though. This is the argument of the problem, though, for Franklin Regional, is that now I would not be surprised if you see late hit calls, something like that, because Franklin Regional is going to argue, oh, we're playing not to the whistle, we're playing after the whistle now, because that's 2 plays now that the Panthers have been frustrated on and think that the play should have been dead. But the Gators capitalizing on the mistakes, turnover again from Franklin Regional. They struggle toward turnovers, the Panthers do.
Here comes the 2-point conversion play. They'll fake the jet sweep to Lewis, throw it across the middle to Jenkins. Jenkins brought down initially, or held up initially by DuPill at about the 2-yard line, but he fights through that tackle, and Jenkins would not be denied. 2 more points on the board, and the Gators find themselves up 7, 24-17.
Good second effort here. It's one man-on-man coverage there, and Jenkins initially wrapped up by DuPill, but that second effort from him gets him into the end zone. Big 2-point conversion there for the Gators, because now Franklin Regional, only with a extra point on a touchdown, would only tie this one up.
The Gators able to overcome the missed extra point early in the game, get the 2 points to rectify that. Blake Marsh atones for that miss with a 34-yard field goal, and before that, we saw a 70-yard connection from Brad Birch to Steve Jenkins, who's had himself a night after not seeing him for a few weeks in the lineup. 2-point conversion, catch, a couple big tackles on defense. And there we saw the long touchdown right out of the chute for half number 2. And a 13-yard touchdown run by DuPill for Franklin Regional. Add that all up here in the second half. We've had ourselves quite the good bit of scoring to the tune of 24 points. Gators have outscored Franklin Regional 17-7 here in the second half. This offense has come alive, and the Gators find themselves ahead once again. Ball is still loose. The up man has to jump on it there. It still doesn't go down. I'm sure the coaching staff just wanted Darwin Jones, the 5'6" junior, to just sort of fall down at that point, as you see that man not getting the ball on that one. The Gators have done a good job keeping that ball away from Aiden Hudak.
Yeah, when you're the up man like that, if you touch the ball ever, you got to go and get down on it. Usually it's if the first man you get it and then just kind of move until your first hit. But in a situation like that, if you lose the ball, go and jump on that one. And Darwin Jones, split second later, and that's a whole different thing. He might have been hit right as he picks it up, but instead he is able to score on that, or excuse me, he's able to recover that one and hold on to it.
Yeah, by the time the up man is getting that ball, the kick coverage team is bearing down on you because you're supposed to be the one blocking there. So nearly a disaster there for Franklin Regional, who goes to the ground once again. That one stopped in the backfield as this run defense has gotten better and better for the Gators. Franklin Regional no longer able to continue to carve up the Gators here on the ground. Credit to Don Hall and company. They've made adjustments, and these young men up front have been a real problem for the Panthers.
Yeah, they're holding Lemke really, I think, to only maybe 1 or 2 yards versus the first half, where he's getting 7-8 yards on quarterback keepers. Hadn't heard too much of DePill's name in the backfield. He was the one that was really running over the Gators.
Case in point, they'll go to Gentile here, and he's stacked up well behind the line of scrimmage. And pumped up is Roberson Louis June. Louis June standing at 6 foot, 240 pounds, played a little bit as a freshman last year and as a sophomore, making his impact felt, especially as this game has gone on. Nice tackle for a loss there. Makes it 3rd and long.
And almost a gift there for Louis June as Gentile just runs right into him pretty much after Louis June is able to shed his block momentarily. And a 3rd down, and this is a big 3rd down here for Franklin Regional.
Momentum fully on the side of the Gators after that fumble, and another timeout called by the Panthers. So now both teams with just 1 timeout left here, as we're still 46 seconds away from starting the 4th quarter. So keep that in mind, folks, that both of these teams now with just 1 timeout left. Like you said, a big 3rd down upcoming for Franklin Regional, who is loath to give the ball back to the Gators, not only down a score, but to put that Gators offense back on the field, which for the first time this season is clicking.
Well, the good news, at least, is that if they don't convert here, they have a good punter in the sense of Bain, who can flip the field for Franklin Regional. But, I mean, the Panthers just look stunned right now. They look completely aghast, especially after that fumble and recovered for a touchdown. They don't look like they know what to do right now in terms of offense. And another timeout was forced. And you talked about a momentum swing. That might have been the play that really made the difference, as now Gateway's bench is pumped up. They're jumping around, stuff like that. On this 3rd down, 10 yards, and you think that Lemke's going to have to try and pass this ball. I think you need to get a pass off here if you're Lemke, and you need to find your target, Hudak, for Franklin Regional. Find him in a crossing route or something like that where he can get open right near the sticks.
3rd down.
Here it is, the big 3rd down. They fake the handoff, pressure. Quarterback is on the run, and not a whole lot going on there. Louis June got in with pressure in the backfield once again. And quarterback Lemke rolls out into the flats, and looks like he's going to come up with an injury here. Take a look at the replay. He kind of got rolled up on there at the end of that one.
Right at the end there. In the process of being tackled, just kind of got his leg rolled on by a player for Gateway. This is a big issue for the Panthers. Lemke again plays both sides of the ball, as well as a safety for Franklin Regional.
Yeah, things going bad to worse. You feel sort of the air getting let out for the Franklin Regional Panthers, who looked calm, cool, and collected through much of this game, and that fumble call has really changed the dynamic of this game on a dime. And now Lemke still being tended to over on the sidelines.
Again, that went from a converted third down.
They are having to help him off of the field. He's not putting any weight on that leg. So a shame to see from someone who's played well tonight, who has made plays on both sides of the ball for the Panthers, and certainly you hate any time to see any young man come up injured.
Yeah, he's made a couple stops in his own end zone on defense, getting a couple hands in the way from the Gators. And yeah, we hope he's all right. I hope he'll be back, but a big blow for the Panthers as we approach the fourth quarter here.
And with the game clock outpacing the play clock, it looks like both teams will take a beat to reassess things as we head to the fourth quarter with the Gators scoring 17 third quarter points, Spencer, looking as dynamic as they have all season and in the driver's seat with momentum on their side here at home, looking for that first win of the season and to start out Big East play 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, Gateway was moving the ball in the first half, but it's just the second half where the things finally clicked all the way around for Gateway. They were able to score, especially late in that third quarter, and the special teams, a big part of it. Turnovers, we talked about it before. Franklin Regional has a lot of turnovers. It's their Achilles heel, to put it nicely, for Franklin Regional. They have struggled against turning the ball over in the last 3 games, and they have a handful here. Has been the difference so far.
12 minutes left in this one. Don't go anywhere. Still a lot to be decided. Kenny Lewis getting stretched out at midfield. Some continued cramping issues. It's cooler tonight. It's a beautiful evening for football. It's still warm. Still a lot going on down there. Gators, as we talked about, looking to start off conference play on a high note before heading to Plum next week. And what should be a good matchup with Nick Odom and the Mustangs, who at last check were leading the Norwin Knights. Another look at the Gators schedule this season after the short trip over to Plum, still here east of Pittsburgh. The Gators will return home for a clash with the Hempfield Spartans, who the Gators stopped dead in their tracks. Hempfield 5-0 when these two teams met last season, and my goodness, an absolute blowout in that game. And then the Battle of the Bell on October 6th at Penn Trafford, before the last 2 out of 3 games being a step out of conference play against McKeesport and Central Catholic here at home. Sandwiched in between that, a road test at Norwin on October 20th.
2 games I'm circling, at Plum and at Penn Trafford for Gateway. As Franklin Regional will be in the punt formation.
Plum has looked solid to start the year. Got tripped up by a talented Shaler squad last week. And then Penn Trafford, Battle of the Bell. Always one of those games where you throw the records out. Both teams want to win. Lewis able to fall under that one. The Gators will start with decent field position at their own 37-yard line. But more importantly, up 7 points after a dynamic swing. The Gators were down 13-17 early in that third quarter. 11 unanswered points off of a 34-yard field goal by Blake Marsh and a 40-yard fumble return by Kenny Lewis. Flip this game on its head and, more importantly, put themselves in the driver's seat here in the fourth quarter. They'll have a chance to add on to that advantage here. Offense returns to the field. 1st and 10. 4 receivers set to the left, to the right. Now Reynolds will swing out right. They'll fake the screen to him, and Birch will take off once again. Penalty flag down. Birch still on his feet inside the 40-yard line. He'll get walloped as he crosses the 35. A big hit there by Brent Hickey.
Coming back.
Indeed, a holding call against the Gators will negate the long run by Brad Birch, who went for about 30 yards there.
That back judge gave him a little bit of help there as the Franklin Regional guy was coming in and had to bump into the back judge and gave Birch the opportunity to cut that one out and bump it to the right side instead. Obviously unintended.
In our other Big East action, we talked about
Holding on the Gators.
circling that Plum game, but don't count out the Knights. They took Upper St. Clair to the wire, and they are leading Plum 30-23 at the moment. They're trying to start out 1-0 in conference play. Across the middle. Contact there, and the flag will come in, as it did look like the defensive back number 30. Is that number 30 or am I
20, I believe.
seeing my numbers a little wrong from up here? Darwin Jones, the guilty culprit. Thank you.
And Darwin Jones does the right thing, recognizes the play, steps up, tries to make a play. The problem, and this is just so difficult when you're a defensive back in football, is just you got to time it right. He didn't time it right. The contact doesn't give the ability for the wide receiver to catch that ball, and that's going to be the issue. That's what they're going to call you for. Again, right idea, just not perfect execution.
So that game went final. Norwin knocks off Plum. So the Knights will start out 1-0 in conference play. Birch going to go for the home run ball here. Has Harper, who had it in his hands and couldn't come up with it. 6 points in the breadbasket. Just couldn't close in on it.
Well, they went back to Darwin Jones here to try and get him again, and he turns with the wrong shoulder, so he's 2 yards in front of it, and it's just off of the hands of the player for Gateway.
It's going to be Dyson Harper.
Tough play there.
Dallas Harper's younger brother has made some big catches here early in the season and just sees that one go through the hands. Now this one tipped, nearly intercepted, trying to go to Jenkins there on second and medium. Strong defensive play there. Looked like that one was tipped by Owen Sinclair.
Yeah, Sinclair kind of watching, recognizing the slant, stepping up and gets a hand on it. Just couldn't get 2 hands on it though, unfortunately for him. Another third down here for Gateway.
See if Birch calls his own number here. It's sort of been the de facto third down call, and he will think about it again. He'll run it, has a little bit of room, but this time that hole closes up quickly over the left side of the field. There's Owen Sinclair's in there, Kyle Dupill, good gang tackling, and that will bring up 4th down.
Sinclair is the spy in this play as you see him wait, and once Birch makes any move to the left or right, he's gone. He's right to him, and he's able to get to him before the first down marker, force a 4th, and we'll look to see potentially another pooch punt.
See if Birch uses his arm or his leg here, or both of his legs. All 3 certainly in play. And that's one of the things that is sneaky about this formation of being able to do the pooch punt is you keep this defense on its toes as Gators will take the timeout there, miscommunication. So the Gators will burn their final timeout. No timeouts the rest of the way. Still a lot of time left to decide this one. The Gators up 7. Now we'll see Birch trail back, so it looks like they'll go into a formal punt formation.
Now, Vince, quote me if I'm wrong, I thought maybe Gateway's plan was to see if he can draw him off sides, get a penalty, and then punt, but it looks like they took the timeout instead. I didn't know if you were allowed to do that in high school football. If you can kind of just stand there, wait, and the play clock goes out, so you take the delay of game to give your punter even a little bit more room to punt as well, give him some more field to send it down instead of having to kick it high into the air and a little shorter.
Birch in punt formation.
That's what they will do. This one at the 39-yard line. Birch catches and is able to cork another excellent punt. Hudock takes this one at his own 30, and he gets walloped toward midfield. A big hit there by number 75, Craig Schultz. A couple players on each side getting up slow after a number of collisions on that play.
Hey, taking a look, I mean, Hudock has been a bright spot, especially on the special teams for Franklin Regional, giving them a little bit of room to work with as he is kind of slow and kind of hobbling off himself on that one. But again, we'll see who the quarterback will be as Lemke came out earlier on the injury. We'll see who lines up for Franklin Regional here.
Looks like Jude Gentile, one of the tailbacks, rather it'll be DuPill the other way around, who will take the Wildcat snap without Lemke in there. Low snap. He'll take it himself, call his own number, get over to the sidelines. Might get 2 on that one. But not much more. Not a whole lot going there for the Panthers, who have really been stymied on the ground by the Gators here in the second half. Take a look there.
I've always said my argument on the Wildcat is that, especially in a high school level, it's almost always a run. You always know it's a run, so you're bringing everybody up. You're bringing everyone on defense forward, and it's just a matter of what can you do offensively to try and keep Gateway on their toes, with the exception of just running the ball. And that's going to be the big issue now that Franklin Regional has if they don't have this quarterback coming out here.
So no gain on first down. Handoff here on second down, net them about a yard. And if you're the Panthers, so much momentum and energy sucked out of this stadium. One after the fumble return by Kenny Lewis for the touchdown, but then Lemke coming up limp and needing help over to the sidelines. And now this Franklin Regional offense, the body language and the energy, Spencer, is just so different.
Yeah, I don't want to say defeated, that's not the right term, but just they need something to really just light the fire under them and get them going.
For the Gators, all the momentum here is DuPill going to take it, and he gets close and will get first down yardage, spins away from a tackle, inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5, and he will not be denied. Gets into the end zone as Jair Phillips had an opportunity to bring him down, but he would not be denied. As we talked about, DuPill rumbles, stumbles, bumbles all the way to the end zone, and boy, we are an extra point away from having ourselves a whole new ball game.
Poor tackling from Gateway, and this is again what I've said before, how what I love about DuPill is that he just keeps running. Just keep the legs moving no matter what until both legs are down on the field, and he just keeps moving and moving and moving, and I talked about it, the spark that they needed. That's exactly what lit the fire underneath them literally, was Kyle DuPill, just running and running and running, and bringing this game and made it very interesting now.
So a 13-yard touchdown run in the third quarter, a 47-yard touchdown here in the fourth. DuPill with 2 touchdowns in the second half. The PAT by Bain is up and good. We are tied back up at 24. Settle in, folks. It's going to be a wild ride here over these last 9 minutes and 25 seconds, as what looked like a game that the Gators had in a vice grip, momentum-wise, just flips on a dime once again. As that spin move there and the tenacity. See Phillips going high there. You think maybe if he goes low and tries to take the legs out, he might get the stop. Instead, those legs keep rumbling for DuPill, who had 60 yards just in touchdown runs alone.
DuPill, it was funny, when he rolled out, he was actually looking past, had his hands on the ball in order to throw it, and then realized there wasn't that option there, took it himself. Play out of Bradley Birch's book almost, just taking it himself and really moving the ball down the field and scoring that touchdown. And Gateway has had problems trying to tackle Kyle DuPill here this evening, and it shows right there, another one for him. And just like you said, Vince, I mean, this is an interesting game now, a lot more interesting than we saw an hour ago, or excuse me, a couple plays ago, as you see Chase Lemke getting some tape on his ankle. Might be coming back out there for him. Nice job by our camera crew catching that one behind the bench of the Franklin Regional Panthers.
A lot of interesting games across the WPIAL on a week that looked like it didn't have a ton of marquee matchups. But as we talked about, Norwin besting Plum. I don't know if that's so much of an upset, but Norwin normally a team that is a bottom dweller in the Big East Conference, and they start off 1-0. These two teams certainly doing battle here, knotted up. North Hills is pulled within 1, Woodland Hills 21, North Hills 20. Moon, the story of the evening. They score a late touchdown and upset number 1 ranked Penn Hills. So number 1 goes down. The Indians lose to the Moon Tigers, who are a few years removed from a WPIAL finals appearance, and not a team that folks had high expectations for as this kickoff travels into the end zone for a touchback.
They went winless last year, Moon did. The Tigers, I believe they went winless.
And in convincing fashion in most of those
Very
games.
convincing fashion. So congrats to the Tigers on that upset. And we talked about before this one being the KDK High School Football Game of the Week being broadcasted. We're getting our Game of the Week here. I mean, this is a game, to say the least, with 9.5 here. And the Gators, you got to just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, Franklin Regional has struggled to stop the passing from Gateway, and Birch just needs to continue that.
Run here by Reynolds. Reynolds able to make a few miss. Has 1 or 2 men to beat inside the 35-yard line and flips the field there. That is a 45-yard run on first down. Take another look. Just a simple handoff, Spencer.
Yeah, the safeties are playing so far back, too, that Reynolds, once he gets to the second level, he's got a lot of room to run and work with, bouncing off 1 tackle, and a big gain for the Gators.
So they flip the field quick. They'll fake the screen out to Reynolds once again, and another big pop there on Birch late in that one. It looked like knifing in there to lay the boom. Late was Austin Kearns after Andrew DeVola brought down the quarterback.
And you see DeVola take him down, and then a little bit of an interesting hit there, a little later than you'd like if you're the Franklin Regional coaches.
Birch back, goes for the home run ball, has Jenkins, who comes up with it. A pitch and catch of 31 yards, and the Gators respond with 6.
They got the matchup they wanted. It was Jenkins one-on-one with number 20 for Franklin Regional, Darwin Jones, who has had a lot of issues in this second half, and just over top and almost mossing Darwin Jones here. Another look at this one. Birch, again, another great throw from him, who has looked spectacular here. Jones just times that wrong, and Jenkins hauls that one in for the quick score.
Snap is up. Kick, no good.
Oh, that's a big miss there for Gateway.
Blake Marsh's PAT wide to the right, but the Gators do get 6 as that one put up just high enough to get over the DB. That one into the arms of Jenkins. Birch to Jenkins have 101 passing yards in touchdowns alone. You talk about the transfer from Woodland Hills making a difference. The Gators looking explosive as we're accustomed to over the past 2 seasons. 2 years ago, averaging 34 points a game. Last season, averaging about 25, and tonight, 30 on the board. And they have needed all of it here to inch ahead of a resilient Franklin Regional Panthers team that, up to this point, we'll see if he returns, but has played much of the late third quarter and early fourth without Chase Lemke at quarterback. Now, if you're the Gators, you just try to kick this ball any which way, but towards number 16. This one will carry to Hudak, but he's going to let this one trail into the end zone.
Into the end zone.
Took its time to get into the back of that end zone, I'll tell you what.
Bit of a break for the Gators there. They keep it away from number 16, and they force Franklin Regional to stare at 80 yards of greenery in front of them. Will they move the ball and be able to set themselves up to go ahead in this one, or will the Gators defense rise to the occasion? We had a 7-10 game, a 10-7 game at halftime. And we have had 17 points combined. We're at 54 now. You take a look at that. We have 37 total points here in this second half. That's one heck of an output by both of these squads. This has been a bit of a barn burner. Trick play here, and they've got Hudak over the top. and he's going to get pushed out of bounds. Kenny Lewis wisely, instead of trying to tackle him, just forces him out of bounds. But a good trick play there is Cole Brinker able to connect with Hudock, and they go from the 20 up towards midfield in a hurry.
Yeah, great trick play. You see Hudock just waiting, and then once he takes off, and it was Lewis who just a little bit late on getting to that, recognizing it, half a second, but it was enough to give Hudock the space to work with, and a nice catch, a really nice play call for Franklin Regional.
28-yard gain there on the first play of the drive. As number 8 is back in there. Now another broken tackle, and it's DuPill off to the races again inside the 30, down to about the 26-yard line. Looks like there's a flag in the backfield that might negate what looked like it was about a 26-yard run.
Yeah, it's going to be coming back. Yeah, it's against Franklin Regional. It's going to be a false start, I believe. Someone left early. I think actually it might have been the wide receiver there for Franklin Regional. Don't quote me on that, but moving late there. A big call going against the Panthers.
We'll do first down again. This time it'll be 1st and 15 after the penalty.
First down, 15.
Lemke in the gun again, and he'll hand off again to DuPill. DuPill able to get a few on this one, but not nearly as many as the 26 that were negated on the previous carry.
Easy to give to DuPill, and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep counting them. 5, 6 guys. Just a circle of players there as DuPill doesn't get much on it. Now you said it's 2nd and 14. You're on your own side of the field. Lemke has yet to throw the ball after being injured. It was a trick play that was the initial throw. We'll see what they do here. Looks like another run, though. Man in motion.
Fake the handoff, play action. Lemke able to get rid of this one. It's corralled by number 18. Austin Kearns going to get it back toward the original line of scrimmage, short of midfield. So that will be a gain of 3, 4 actually. So it'll be 4th and 10 on that one.
Cole Brinker slipped. That was the target that they were looking at as they had a little bit of a screen on the switch there. Brinker slipping, so then he has to go to his second option, which is covered too deep, so he goes to his third option in the form of Kearns.
Excuse me, 3rd and 10 upcoming, and a big one here for Franklin Regional, who will go to the air once again. Pass across the middle, they set up the screen. Across the field, it's Kearns again, and Kearns tripped up as he gets past the 35 down to the 32-yard line. Actually, that's Aiden Hudock, and after you see him running with the ball in his hands, not surprising, the 6s and 8s. My apologies get a little scattered sometimes. Hudock very nearly able to stiff arm his way to open pastures there, but a nice job by Carlos Diggs to make sure to make the game-saving touchdown. But it flips the field for Franklin Regional with Lemke back under center. They look competent again offensively, and they are driving. Fake the handoff. Lemke held that one on the option read till the very last minute, and the ball came out, and the Gators have recovered. Amari Gans able to dive on that one, and the Gators come up with a timely turnover. Spencer, you talk about things we have not seen from the Gators yet this season in the defeats. Explosive offense and a defense that we're used to seeing strip the ball in this way. Looking at Mark Knight there, who's been excellent this season, able to strip that one. Amari Gans comes up with it. The defense has been looking for that all season. Finally, they're starting to get some of these turnovers.
And turnovers again killing Franklin Regional. This is Lemke's first rush after the injury. He rushes up the field, and it didn't look like there was anything malicious from it. Just Mark Knight just gets him on the arm and is able to rip it out of him, and a huge turnover.
Chance for the Gators to really put a clamp down on this game. A hit up high. Reynolds wants the penalty. They won't get it. So he heads back to the huddle after a moderate gain of about 4 there, up over the 30. Take another look. It's a Bit of a shot there with Brent Hickey, but running backs don't get those quite as often.
And got him on the shoulder, too. Credit Hickey, though. He did leave his feet.
Gators will go to the air, going for the home run ball once again. And the flag comes in very late, but appropriately thrown as Kenny Lewis was held up from getting back to the ball by Heath Sliva, and that is going to be a pass interference penalty.
And I know Heath Sliva's mad on this one because he had him like a blanket, but the problem was he never turned around. Never looked at the ball at all, just kind of held him there, too, at the end. They're going to call that one every time. The ref just a little late, just trying to find his flag. That was the only reason being late on that one, but it'll be a pass interference against Franklin Regional.
And a good job by Lewis making the effort to come back to the ball to really sell that contact, that illegal contact. And so sometimes the receiver is able to initiate that penalty, and Lewis did a great job on that there. That'll move the ball up toward midfield. 15-yard penalty places it at the 47-yard line. Gators will remain in the gun here. Now they'll flex Reynolds out. Again, they'll go with the QB keeper, and Birch putting the shoulder down and bowling over the defensive back, Aaron Staley, or rather Darwin Jones. Take another look. Don't normally see Brad Birch putting the shoulder down and putting the hurt on a guy there, but my goodness.
Darwin Jones got up as he acting like he made the tackle. He did, but he took a shot, though. It's been a rough evening for Darwin Jones, to say the least.
Been picked on, gave up the touchdown to Jenkins on the last drive, gets bowled over by Birch there, bubble screen. This one to Dyson Harper. Harper tries to spin away from the tackler. It's going to be a short gain on first down, just outside the 40. So a gain of just a few there on second down. Harper stays in bounds and keeps that clock rolling as well.
There's a ball that rolled onto the field there at the end. That could have been interesting if it rolled on prior to the play ending. No harm, no foul. Just had to mention that one.
Dip under 5 minutes left here in this contest. Gators clinging to a 6-point lead. Looking to try and put this one away. 3 receivers to the left. Quick pass. That one's caught by Jenkins. The flag comes in late. Looks like it's going to be an ineligible man downfield on the offense.
Yeah, another look at this
that happen
one.
a few times.
Yeah,
Sorry.
let's another look at this one. You see player moving forward. Not sure exactly who it was. I thought maybe it was a screen up kind of like a pick up top, but I don't think that was the call either. Regardless, it's against Gateway and it's going back.
I think Roberson Louise June got just a little too far downfield. So that'll turn 2nd and 8. Now where we go?
It declined? Looked like it was declined.
Penalty was declined. So we go from 2nd and long to 3rd and still somewhat long. 8 yards. Gators gonna go deep again. They got Jenkins. Jenkins wide open, and Jenkins is into the end zone. 41 yards, his 3rd score of the game. My, oh my, has he been explosive.
It's one-on-one coverage again. Another look at your screen. Jenkins gets over to the right side, and he's got Darwin Jones with him. Jones decides to cut in last second, and the ball is over his shoulder right into the arms of number 3, Steven Jenkins for Gateway. Jenkins with the touchdown. Perfect pass again for Bradley Birch.
So the Gators create a little separation now. 12 points, looking to make it 13. As Blake Marsh, who's missed a few PATs, lines up for this one. He'll get it up. That one up and good. Sneaks it inside the right. Upright. And so it's 37-24 Gators.
Another look at this one again, the touchdown. You'll see Jones gets beat one side, so he tries to cut in to correct himself. The problem was that ball is perfectly placed. It's on the inside shoulder of Steven Jenkins, excuse me. So Jones really can't do anything there, and it's just a perfect pass again from Bradley Birch. Caught that time from Steven Jenkins. And the offense is again moving forward for Gateway. The passing has really been stepping up here in this one.
Birch to Jenkins, good for connections of 70, 31, and 41 yards. Not to mention, Birch had a 79-yard touchdown toss to Kenny Lewis called back on an ineligible man downfield. So number 12 steps back into the lineup and has 4 total touchdowns here for the Gators, who are 4.5-ish minutes away and can sniff that first victory of the season that was so elusive the first 3 weeks. And more importantly, making a statement here in the first conference game here in the Big East. Another look at our broadcast calendar upcoming here on GatewayGatorProductions.com. Excited to bring you a plethora of different sports, as we talked about, a combination of myself, Spencer, Adam Gusky, and Bob Orquist going to be providing commentary. A shout out to our talented crew across the board, led by Lee Schaefer III. So we have a lot of exciting things to bring you. Spencer, I know you'll be here early next week.
Yep.
Some volleyball.
Soccer Monday evening against Greensburg-Salem. We'll be on the call for that one.
Right back here at Intimarino Stadium. So make sure to stay tuned in to GatewayGatorProductions.com. As we talked about, next Friday, we'll head out to Plum. Conference action will continue. The Mustangs will be licking their wounds after a defeat at the hands of the Norwood Knights, and the Gators will be looking at what might be an opportunity to start out 2-0 in conference plays. Blake Marsh sends that kick out of bounds, and that'll give Franklin Regional decent field position at the 35 to start this drive, and they're going to need some points quick here with 4.5 minutes left.
And it's interesting, the guy who wasn't lined up back there for Franklin Regional, Aiden Hudock, it was Cole Brinker instead, and that one off Marsh's foot goes out of bounds, so a flag, of course, being thrown for that. The one time that they don't want to kick it, or they don't have to kick it to Hudock, it goes out of bounds for the Panthers.
So that'll place the ball in the right hash, and the Panthers will come back out. Chase Lemke, the 5'10", 154-pound junior, sustained a minor injury early in the third quarter, but has returned and is nearly intercepted right through the hands of Sean Moorfield Jr., and he was probably thinking about a house call before he had that one fully in his hands.
Yeah, Lemke trying to do too much there. I mean, he's just trying to squeeze that ball in when really is not an open receiver there, and that could have been ball game if Moorfield takes that one to the house for a Gateway.
And as it stands now, still quite the hill to climb for the Panthers, who don't really feel like a team that's built for these situations, a team that thrives on running the ball. Having to go pass first here, and this one again just sort of chucked up and intercepted. Kenny Lewis comes away with it. Was he in bounds? He was. Took a minute. Or now we get the signal that he was out of bounds. I saw an initial mention. As we take another look here. Ooh, that was close. Gators, rather the Panthers might have caught a break there. I saw the official make an initial gesture as if that one looked like the referee, William Buhner, signaled as if that was an interception, but then the officials conferred and they said that Lewis was out of bounds.
I'll tell you what, Lewis, right when he catches that ball, he's stepping on the sideline there, just a half a step on it, and then he's able to come back in, and that's where he got it right there. Again, but great play, though, off the tip, able to just keep his momentum forward, pick off that one.
Third down.
Quick stoppage by the officials as the chain crew on the far side had second down, not third down as it is now. 3rd and 16 quick bubble screen there and a huge hit by Amari Gans to jar that one loose in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Cole Brinker. And now gut check time for the Panthers, who almost certainly have to go for it here on 4th and very long, but bring out the punt team, so they might be sending this one away. I'm not so sure if you're the Panthers faithful, you agree with that call here with what little time there is left in this one.
Good
and
play.
with how you've been getting carved up by the Gators.
Yeah, good play by Amari Gans real quick, stepping up there in the zone coverage and recognizing it's the screen, was able to get to that one. But yeah, I mean, you could possibly flip the field here and force something, but haven't been able to do that as of recently.
Kenny Lewis calls for the fair catch, and he fumbles this one. Ball is loose. No signal. Now, late flag comes in, and the ball is given to Franklin Regional, and a major mistake there by Kenny Lewis, who has had some issues corralling the ball. We've seen him have to sort of dive and make a center field catch on a few punt return, fair catches, and we saw the fumble that he was able to turn into a 35-yard return on the kickoff. And this time it finally comes to bite the Gators as they turn the ball over and have to go back on defense. And Panthers have some life here with 4 minutes left. The ball in Gators territory.
Yeah, offsetting penalties after the play, but you were talking about before. That was Kenny Lewis. The last two punts, he's kind of leaned in, caught it, and then fallen. This time he stands straight up and down, and it hits right off of him after the fair catch. And now if you're Gateway, calm down. It's basically just the same as a 20-yard completion. That's all the situation right now. That's all you're sitting at right now. You just got to stop him here.
DuPill gets the carry and rumbles forward with momentum for about 5. Taking it from the 48 down to about the 43. So that'll bring up second medium here for the Panthers as that clock winds under 4 minutes.
You're Franklin Regional. You think you got to score within 2-minute mark, you'd say probably 1:30 at the most.
Go to the ground again. That is the strength for the Panthers, but time is their enemy, and that clock will continue to roll here. 3rd down upcoming in 3. Ball at the 41-yard line after the gain of 2.
Stop by Santo and Harris. 3rd down, 3.
Panthers taking quite a bit of time here to get this play in from the sidelines.
They are, as the clock continues to tick down again. 14 on the game clock, 3:10 on the clock. This is a lot of time when you're down 2 scores.
Snap play action and a big hit there. The ball comes loose again, and I think the Gators have come up with another fumble, and they have a big hit there to force that ball loose by Roberson Louis June. Creates another turnover that is recovered by Craig Schultz. You see him there with the ball, and now it's the Gators who will have the ball near midfield, and that might have been the last gasp opportunity for the Panthers, and no dice, nothing to show for it.
Yeah, Roberson Louis June is able to get by his blocker and take out the quarterback, Lemke. And I'm a little surprised that Franklin Regional didn't try and run there on that 3rd down. You think you're probably in 4-down territory, and they have been running the ball all evening. I'm a little surprised that they didn't try and just get the 3 yards there, but instead they go with the pass, and it comes back to bite them.
So the Gators take over near midfield with 3 minutes left. Reynolds off to the races. No one's going to catch him inside the 20, 10, 5, touchdown. No flags on the field. That is a 54-yard touchdown. Jaquan Reynolds, his first of the season.
And that will seal the deal there for the Gators. Jaquan Reynolds going to his left, basically untouched. Another look at this one again. Great blocking upfield for the Gators, and then it's just a foot race for Reynolds, who definitely has the speed to beat the defenders. What a way to win to end this one for Gateway.
Gators special teams on for the PAT. Marsh's kick is up, and it is good. And now the Gators find themselves ahead convincingly and well on their way to 1-0 in Big East Conference play.
funny how the way that potentially ends this game. Of course, still 2:51 on the clock is a rushing play after some excellent passes from Brad Birch throughout this third and fourth quarter. Sealing the deal potentially in this one was Reynolds, as they go to the ground game now for the Gators. And
didn't use a whole lot of clock there.
no, that's the only downside of this all. Only took off about 10, 15 seconds at most.
So since the Gators, from the time the Gators fell behind for the last time, which was the 13-yard touchdown run by DuPill, made it 17-13 Franklin Regional. Gators have outscored the Panthers 31-7. And again, we talked about this was a 10-7 game at halftime. Here in the second half alone, the Gators have outscored Franklin Regional 37-14. We've had 51 points in the second half alone in this game. Don't see that very often. Return here will be by Brinker. Brinker not going to get anything going there. He's brought down inside the 15-yard line.
Stop by 19, Smith.
And so it'll be a long field to go with not a whole lot of time to do it for Franklin Regional down 20.
This really isn't their repertoire, is passing the ball. With all due respect to Chase Lemke, I haven't seen too many yards of more, or too many passes of more than 15 yards from him. As a student section for Gateway and a blackout, waving goodbye to the Franklin Regional team. Franklin Regional, real quick, gives them some credit. A lot of their fans showing up here in this one. It was Neon Day for them. But a lot of them are getting the trying to beat the traffic, getting home to Murraysville.
A lot of the construction vests on, and boy, this Panthers offense has had to proceed with caution here in this second half as they have been stood up and bullied by the Gators. Turnovers galore, couple broken plays. They did have the 47-yard touchdown run that knotted us up at 24, but
and it's interesting, they're arguably their most successful drive was the drive that they didn't have a quarterback, with Chase Lemke going down and having the Wildcat. Now, of course, it was pretty much, for the most part, it was one large play from the Panthers, but we're talking that was the spark that they needed, but the problem was they couldn't keep the flame going here in this one.
Offensive procedural penalty tacks 5 yards on to this long field for the Panthers, who now face a 3rd and long. It says 2nd and 10. It is 3rd down and about 15. They'll hand it here to Gentile, who's able to make a few folks miss, and he'll get taken to the sidelines.
Gentile, the ball carrier.
Smart play there by the Gators, not to dump them or throw them at the end, but rather just to sort of take them safely over to the sideline.
A nice run from Jude Gentile. I actually heard a fan down there announce his name properly. Apologize for that one. But yeah, I mean, Gentile there just running over towards the sideline, trying to get as many yards as he can. A 4th down situation now.
Gives them a 4th down. They have at least a prayer of converting, but Lemke loses the ball off the snap, and that play is going to be over before it began. The 4th and 4 at the 21 gets stopped in the backfield, and so the Gators will start this offensive possession in the red zone. Although with 98 seconds left, might be time for the victory formation. See the Gators faithful, some of the marching band there. All smiles, first win of the season. Tough go of it over the first few weeks. But the Gators will start conference play 1-0. They will exact revenge on the Panthers after the 16-7 loss in Murraysville last season. And they'll head in with momentum against a Plum Mustangs team that's reeling after having a 9-point lead evaporate against the Norwin Knights. All of a sudden, the trajectory of the season feels like it has changed for the Gators, who have their quarterback healthy.
Birch takes a knee.
Scoring 4 total touchdowns here in this one. As they will take to the victory formation. There's a bit of jawing on both sides down there. There's going to be a penalty. Looks like on potentially the Gators for unsportsmanlike conduct. We'll see what the official call is. It will be on the Gateway Gators as they'll march that one back.
Now you see players just kind of pulling each other away, trying to get them away from getting other penalties and anything else extra here at this end of this game. And yeah, it was on one of the linemen for Gateway. Second man always gets caught. And that's exactly what happened there.
So clock continues to wind. Another kneel down there will take us to 3rd down.
3rd down.
We should have just enough to get us to the finish line here as the Gators going to let this play clock wind. Kneel down by Birch.
And that should do it.
And that will take us to the end for this one. The Gators outscore Franklin Regional 37-14 in the second half. They score 31 of the final 38 points in this one. And they are your winners tonight for the first time this season, improving to 1-3. But more importantly, Spencer, 1-0 here in conference play.
That's exactly what we talked about earlier. Really, the slate is wiped when it's conference play. And we talked about it before in this Big East Conference. There's really no team that is necessarily the front runner right now, the team that we have seen in these non-conference games. And Gateway, a statement win here in the sense that they have just as much to prove as everyone else in this conference.
Brad Birch, we thought maybe we'll see some rest. Guy hasn't played in a few weeks, coming back from injury. No such thing. 3 touchdowns, 4th on the ground, rushing the ball. Boy, did he look good tonight.
No, yeah, definitely a statement for Bradley Birch as well, who really played very, very well in the passing game. Gave the Franklin Regional DBs a lot of fits, airing the ball out, and there could have even been a couple more touchdowns. There was a couple missed catches from some of his wide receivers there, and the offense really clicking, and especially like you talked about before in the last couple games, they had clicked, but they weren't able to click all the way down the field. They had finally been able to do that this one.
Yeah, namely a drop by Dyson Harper, a penalty that negated a 79-yard touchdown to Kenny Lewis. There were opportunities there for the Gators to capitalize throughout this one, and boy, in the second half, they really, really did that, which gives the Gators hope for next week as they head on to take the Plum Mustangs in another conference matchup over in Plum. Spencer, we have a few weeks before we'll see you again, but it's always good. Our 3rd and now the rubber match here in this series, calling this. The Gators have taken 2 of the last 3 against Franklin Regional, and they've put themselves in the driver's seat to be competitive once again in conference play.
Yeah, I think for Gateway, you really, again, it's going to be a big matchup against Plum next week. A Plum team that we talked about being a lot better than people think, and a Gateway team that hasn't played as good as people thought as well. And now with these two, Plum lost today. Is that correct? I believe that was correct. So Plum with a loss needs to respond in conference play. Gateway with a big win. How will they use this momentum into next week?
Well, that will do it for us. We will see what happens next week at Plum, but for tonight, we bid adieu. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. For our entire crew, led by Adam Gusky, Lee Schaefer III, our camera operators, Lee, Dale, Bree, Allie, and for Spencer Witt and myself, Vince Russo, we want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll catch you early next week with some girls soccer. Spencer will have the call for that on Monday, right?
Yes, correct. Monday, Greensburg-Salem, 7 o'clock. Be here on Gateway Gators Productions.
Tune in then, and then we'll see you again next Friday. The Gators take on the Plum Mustangs in Plum for another big East matchup. But until then, that'll do it for us here at GatewayGatorProductions.com. Have a great night, everyone.